Seated. Folks have a seat.
Miss Cottle, you and the defendant lived together as a couple for a period of time. He claims that when you left, you took a laptop that was his, he paid for it, he wants it back. You say that it was a gift. You have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim alleges that he racked up some charges on your credit card that he promised to pay for, being about a cell phone. Now, something interests me. You live where?
In New Mexico, now. I lived in Wisconsin with him.
And you live in Wisconsin?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You met how, online?
Mm-hmm.
You moved with him to Wisconsin. Yes. How long did you know each other before you moved to Wisconsin?
2 months, 3 months.
2 to 3 months you left your home in New Mexico after knowing somebody for 2 months who you met online.
Yes, ma'am.
Ridiculous, right?
Yes.
It does sound ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am.
For all of you other people out there who meet somebody online, you know, go out for a cup of coffee, that's first date, cup of coffee and maybe a movie the second date, then go out for dinner, you know, have a holiday or two together, maybe a short weekend might be in order after a couple of months, but you don't move across the world for somebody that you met online for 2 months. It's ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am.
What I don't understand, Miss Cottle, is your answer says that you were granted a 5-year protective order against Mr. Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see it.
Hold on. It's in this one.
So you did not appear?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I see, because you filed it in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where was he assaultive to you? In New Mexico or in Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin, Your Honor, but I had to leave. I felt like I had to leave. I had no family or friends out there.
No, just, you know, I'm just curious. I want to know if there's a reason he didn't appear. He didn't appear because the acts of harassment took place in Wisconsin. You left, you moved to New Mexico, and instead of filing it where he lives so that you could adjudicate it, you filed it in New Mexico, which would have forced him to come to New Mexico. Put your hand down. Did I say something wrong?
No.
Did I say something incorrect?
No, Your Honor,
it was all correct.
To it,
right. Now, I'd like to see what you filed when you filed there. This is the order of protection. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to see what you alleged in your papers. That would have been in your application for a temporary protective order. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what you said when you asked the judge for a protective order?
He had assaulted me the night that I left.
Well, tell me about it.
It's a lie.
Listen to me. Don't speak until I speak to you.
Okay, ma'am.
Now, I want you to tell me what happened.
He came home after a night of work, and I made him dinner, and we laid down, and I didn't want to have sex with him. And he basically said...
Excuse me? What did you say?
That's a lie.
Just a second. You've now been warned by me twice. You're the plaintiff. You open your big mouth again, you're out. Do you understand? Yes, you get 0. Nothing. Nada. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
He basically told me that you're my fiance. If I want sex, I'm going to get sex from you. He felt that he was entitled to it because he's my fiance. And he got on top of me and basically ripped my shorts off. I pushed him off of me, grabbed my cell phone, and called my mother. He then tried to take my cell phone from me. I called her. She was on the phone with me while it happened. He then bear hugged me, pushed me into the back of the closet, said I wasn't going anywhere because he wasn't going to let me leave. And after that, he pushed me out of the apartment and made me sit outside.
Okay. Now, sir, now it's your turn to tell me what happened on the night of?
It was the morning of August 1st.
August 1st.
Well, ma'am, I came home from a night of work, and she did make dinner, and we did lay down, but she's wrong about the whole part about...
I just want you to tell me what happened. Don't tell me what she's wrong about. You just made dinner.
Okay, I lay down, I was playing, and she pretty much brought up the fact that she wanted to see other guys, pretty much, and that was when I decided I wanted to check her phone. And I tried taking her phone away from her, but she put up a fight. And
what happened when she put up a fight?
What do you mean?
I want you to tell me about... You tried to take the phone away from her. She didn't give you her phone, and then
I tried to reach for the phone, ma'am. She pretty much wouldn't let me have it.
And so then what happened?
I took it by force.
How did you take it? By force?
Yes.
There you go.
But, ma'am,
this
is not about the assault.
I'm not even getting there. You took her phone by force. You can't do that.
But we were together, and she was talking about other guys.
So what? Let us assume that that's true, what you just told me. You think that that gives you license to use physical force against somebody?
No, ma'am.
It doesn't. Okay, so you're afraid of him. Mm-hmm. You're afraid of him.
Yes.
Afraid of your meal ticket.
You're afraid of him. And you're not afraid enough so that you didn't travel here from New Mexico.
I just want to get it over with.
Just a second. I'd like to see what he said to you to harass you. I would like to see the whole thing. I would like to see them. Just give them to me. Okay. Not I have.
There's police reports.
I don't want to see the. Listen to me. I want to see the text messages, emails, or whatever they are.
There's the text messages are on here. It's a conversation format, so you can just read them in order.
I would like to read them. Okay. Perfect.
Push down on the bottom now.
First, he asks to just talk to you.
Mm-hmm. But the whole way he got that number, I changed my phone number when I left, and he hacked into my Facebook to get my number to talk to me.
Well, that people do that. That I understand. So now here's my question to you. Did you use your money to buy the laptop?
No.
He used his money to buy the laptop?
Yes, but he gave it to me.
Listen! If you are afraid of somebody because you had this bad fight, I assume that the reason you left is because of this bad fight that you had, where he acknowledges he acted inappropriately. But if the one thing that he says to you, and there was only one computer in the house, right? Then if you were a smart girl, you would have packed it up and sent it back by UPS and said, what's your first name?
Robert.
Robert, I don't hate you. It didn't work out. It was a bad fight. Here is the laptop. I know it bothers you that you're paying for it or paid for it, and I took it. That's what a smart girl would do. That's what a smart girl would do who had a smart mother.
Well, I needed the laptop for school.
I don't care what you need. You need a laptop for school? Get a job.
I've tried, and he gave it to me to go to school.
No, listen to me.
He specifically said it was for school.
Did you? You're not hearing what I'm saying? I want you to try putting your listening ears on. You and your mother, both of you, put your listening ears on. What I'm saying to you is, if someone, and it's your allegation, is behaving obsessively towards me, and the thing that's stuck in his throat is that you left and took the only laptop in the house.
After he broke mine.
I didn't break your laptop. How are you going to say I broke
Just a second. When did he break your laptop?
He was using it one day. I went back to grab it, and my screen was broken off.
Just a second. He was using it one day. You went back to grab it, is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why did he break it? You broke it.
Well,
if you
no,
went back
it was
to
broken when I
If
had
you went to grab it, then you broke it.
Ma'am.
Chuck.
Sorry.
That's what I'm saying to you. If you were smart and your mother was smart, you would say, listen, I'll take out a loan and, sweetheart, get you a computer for school. That's what mothers are supposed to do.
She already had to take out of her savings to bring me home because I couldn't stay out there. The only people that were out there was him and his family. My mom's on disability. She can't afford to do all this stuff for me.
You're not on disability.
No. I've tried to get a job. I've been working on getting one. I had two when I lived with him.
When did you purchase the computer?
About June, July.
Yeah, the bill?
Yes, it is.
I'd like to see it.
Which I filled out. It's in my handwriting.
Actually, no, it's not.
I don't care whose handwriting it's in.
The document is the one that I was issued after purchasing the laptop.
Listen, I know that you're dying to talk. One of the nice things about this job is the only one I have to listen to is me.
Yes.
My mother was on the phone while we purchased it. He was boasting about how he was spending money on me because she was saying that he never spent any money on me.
What?
Saying that he was buying me the laptop because...
Ma'am.
I don't understand her.
Me either.
You have to understand. I don't understand somebody. If I had a piece of property and that was a bone of contention, I would say, Robert, don't contact me anymore. I'm a computer. But I have no confidence, Robert, that if I ordered her to send back the computer from New Mexico, that you would get it back in reasonable condition.
Yeah.
She seems to have a problem with that. So I'm awarding you $992 so you can go buy another computer.
Honor,
now,
may I say something?
No! Because if you didn't understand what I said to you, there's something wrong with you.
It was a gift.
If you didn't understand what I said, there's something wrong with you. What I said was gift, no gift. If my daughter was suffering with someone who was obsessive about her, and one of the things that he... Listen, is there something wrong with your hearing? You keep wanting to speak instead of listen.
Because there's more to the story.
There's no more to the story.
Okay, he went back and forth on wanting the laptop back. I have a message on Facebook that said, you have the laptop, can't you be happy with that? Saying that I was being horrible to him. He has one that says, my friends at work are telling me to get the laptop back even if I don't want it.
There's something wrong with you. And her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Robert Maroc says ex-girlfriend Angela Cottle stole his laptop when they broke up. Angela's countersuing for credit card charges, the return of a cell phone, and an assault.
Now, You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim says that he racked up charges on your credit card. It's the only thing that I'm hearing on your counterclaim. Show me the bills and show me how he racked up charges on your credit card.
Well, I have the final bill.
I don't need final bills. I want to see all the charges.
But I don't have the charges on there. What happened was when we were living in the dorm, he had sold his Xbox while we were there. And when we moved into our apartment, he asked if I had any way of money, and I said, well, I have the credit card, but that's for emergencies. And he said, well, we can use that, and I can get an Xbox. He said, and then we can take out the cash advances to help pay for the first month's rent, because he hadn't saved enough money for the rent.
Ma'am?
Well, just a second. Who was moving in?
Both of us.
We were both moving out.
Just who was paying the rent?
I was paying the rent.
Shh. I'm looking at you. Who was paying the rent?
Both of us.
Okay. Did you make any charges on her credit card?
No, ma'am.
Did you buy an Xbox?
Well, yeah.
Shh.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Where is it?
We sold it.
You mean the one that you bought on her credit card
Yes.
you sold?
Yeah, we sold it to visit her mother in Albuquerque.
Did you sell it?
Yes, he sold it.
We
Judgment for
sold
the
it.
plaintiff for the amount of $992. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all. Out.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Well, he harassed me. He violated his restraining order 4 times. He basically made me scared for my life more than once.
I guess the harassment part, I just really wanted my laptop back because I was stuck paying for it, even after she left.
He was controlling and obsessive. He repeatedly took my cell phone. I tried to leave 4 other times.
She asked me if it was okay for her to flirt with other guys.
And he took my cell phone, told me I wasn't leaving, couldn't go anywhere, and this was finally just, I couldn't take it anymore.
So I was just curious as to what she was doing. Like, I wanted to see her phone.
He actually made a fake Facebook with the man he thought I was cheating on him with and tried to get me to admit to him that I was cheating on him.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter Brown versus Lovely. Step forward.
Robbie Brown is suing his former tenant, 24-year-old Anthony Lovely, for unpaid rent, damage to the home, and for the return of property taken without permission.
Mr. Brown, the defendant was a roommate of yours for a brief period of time. You claim 3 things. You claim he moved out, he didn't give you 30 days notice, so he owes you a month's rent because he was on a month-to-month tenancy. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that he took some property when he left, and that he punched a hole in one of the walls in the apartment, so you want him to be responsible for repairing the damage.
Yes.
Let's start with the easy stuff first. When did you move in?
Roughly 8 months ago.
Give me month and year. Do you know?
I'm afraid I do not, Your Honor.
Do you?
It was the second month in 2012.
February. That would be February.
Yes.
How much was your rent? Do you know that?
I do. It is $450 originally, Your Honor, and it bumped up to $465 roughly about 10 months in because we increased the rent to cover higher speed internet, Your Honor.
Now, when you moved in, you had no written arrangement, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
What was your arrangement?
First of the month, for the month, and a $100 deposit fee on damages, Your Honor.
Did you give him the $100?
I did.
Okay. Believe you. And you paid your rent on time each month?
Every month.
And he doesn't deny that. When did you move out?
January 28th of 2013, Your Honor.
And when had you told him that you were moving out?
Roughly January 1st, before I went on vacation, Your Honor. It was a family ordeal, and I had given him consent. I'm going. This is not for me.
You didn't want to be there anymore?
Exactly.
Great. On what date did he tell you he was leaving?
He said he was going on vacation on the 15th of January.
And he didn't come back?
Yeah, well, he actually left on the 28th. But he said he would be gone on vacation at the end of the month.
Now, when he moved in, what was your arrangement with him?
The arrangement was that he would live there, he'd give a $100 deposit.
Which he did?
Yes, which he did. And like he said, he was always on time with his rent. I didn't have any reason to believe that.
No, just tell me what you're... You don't have a written lease, so you don't have a contract with him that's in writing.
Actually did, Your Honor.
You did? Then I'd
did.
like to see it.
Actually, we don't have it because he took it with him when he left.
You should have yours, he should have his. So if you don't have a writing, I can't help you unless he acknowledges he took it. I'm not going to ascribe to him theft of your piece of paper. Now, did you take a lease?
No, Your Honor.
He paid his rent while he was living there?
He paid up through January, yes, correct.
He wasn't living there after January?
Correct.
Okay, so what do you think he owes you for?
Basically, he owes me...
Not basically.
Okay, the hole in the wall.
Okay, let's get to the hole in the wall. Let's say he did punch a hole in the wall, and he denies that. Do you have an estimate for repairing it?
Yes, I do, Your
And
Honor.
how much is it?
It's $260.88.
May I see that, please, Bert? Okay, tell me when this happened.
It happened on October 31st of last year.
I'm listening.
It was a party that was going on in the house, and we were all drinking and stuff, and I heard a big thud upstairs, and the reason that he punched the wall was because Tiffany, one of our friends, he thought some guy out in the car.
You can't go into the operation of his mind as to why he punched a hole in the wall, if he punched a hole in the wall. Who saw him punch a hole in the wall? You did.
I did.
Step up. You would be Tiffany.
Yes.
Go, Tiffany.
Okay, well, I didn't physically see him punch it. I went into the room and asked him why he was mad, and he's the one who told me he punched the hole through the wall.
Well, tell me what he said to you.
Well, he was really intoxicated, and I asked him what he did, and he said that
Why did you go into his room?
Because everyone told me that he was really mad that I was outside, and I just wanted to go see if he was okay.
So, you went into the room and?
And he was laying on the bed, and I looked at the wall because I wasn't there before, because I was in his room earlier, and I asked him if he did that, and he said, well, I did it because of you, but don't worry about it.
Was he drunk?
Yes.
Do you remember saying that to her?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Were you drunk?
No.
Had you been drinking?
Yes.
Go sit down. Who cares about the hole in the wall? What's next? What else do you think he owes? So far, he doesn't owe you for anything. Let's go.
The closet door.
Yes.
The closet door came off the hinges, and the other closet door was rubbing against the hardware.
Keep going.
HDMI cord and game.
Okay, that's the other part of your lawsuit. You say he took something when he left.
Yes.
What did he take?
He took the Black Ops 2 game.
A what?
It's a video game.
A video game?
Yes.
Whose was it?
It was mine.
How much did it cost?
It was $59.
Did you see him take it?
It was in his game system.
Did you
when he
see him
left.
take it?
Not physically, because he left in the middle of the night without telling anybody.
Okay. So, do you have his video game?
I do not, Your Honor.
Doesn't have it.
We've seen him play in it online, because you can see him play it online.
There is no proof of that, Your Honor. I did take the machine, Your Honor. The game was not there.
Okay. Do you know which game we're talking about?
I do, Your Honor. I do not play video games, but I know the one he's referring to.
Just a second.
Your Honor.
You're a young man. You play video games. There's no question. Do you know what video game he's talking about?
I do, Your Honor.
What's the name of it?
Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Have you ever played it?
I have, Your Honor.
When you played it, did you play one that belonged to him?
I did.
And did you play that while you were living in the house?
I did.
And did you play it in your machine?
Yes, Your Honor.
$59. What else?
Can I reiterate on the fact that he was living there?
At my age, I don't do reiteration. It's enough.
As far as the rental agreement stuff.
No, you didn't. You didn't have a rental agreement. You had a rental agreement that while he lived there, he paid. He lived there, he paid. That's all you have. $59. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Excuse me. Step out.
It was, quote-unquote, a bachelor pad.
Well, it is a bachelor pad. It's, it's all there for comfort.
He was an older gentleman renting out to younger kind of crowd for the parties.
Everybody's there to have a good time, and that's the way I run my house.
I think he's just trying to live his younger years. He's a 41-year-old single man, and
I'm young at heart. I like to have a lot of noise. I also live on a park. I like noise.
Living with a bunch of younger guys, I think it's self-explanatory.
That's the way I sleep. Instead of turning on the TV at night, I have people that are running around the house.
I did not punch the wall. There was plenty of people going in and out of the rooms.
Oh, he damaged the wall. It doesn't matter if he was drunk or not. He told me he did it.
The damage was the damage, and I'm sorry that happened.
It was because of me.
But when you bring over a whole bunch of people and involve alcohol...
I'm not really going to take any more precautions,
Sometimes stuff happens.
Stuff happens this way, and the judge didn't rule in my favor, and there's not much I can do about it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Orange versus Reynolds. Step forward.
24-year-old Jennifer Orange is suing her former friend, 25-year-old Alicia Reynolds, for the return of furniture left behind when she moved out of her home.
Miss Orange, you knew the defendant from work, according to what I read in your complaint. You needed a place to stay. She offered you a place to stay with her for a brief period of time. You moved your stuff in there, moved out. The moving out was done rather quickly. You left property in her house, and after a period of time sought to retrieve it, and she either has it and refuses to give it to you, or she says disposed of it, maybe. I doubt it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When had you made arrangements to sell him the stuff?
On the 1st of March.
Tell me how that came about.
I just feel like that...
I don't care what you feel like. I don't care what you feel like.
Jennifer Orange says former friend Alicia she left behind after moving out of Alicia's home. Alicia is countersuing for storage fees.
Miss Orange, tell me about why you had to move out of your residence and when you moved in with the defendant.
Okay, Judge Judy, I moved in with Alicia, and the reason why I had to move out was because there was little arguments going on between the two of us, her and her husband. I would say one day.
No, you moved in with her when?
January the 5th.
Why did you move in with her?
I moved in with her because I was going through a separation and I needed a place to stay. I couldn't afford the bills by myself.
And what was your rent arrangement with her?
Originally, when she offered me a place to stay, she didn't say anything about me having to pay her rent, but, you know, it's not a problem. I didn't have a problem with paying her anything.
When did that change?
Well, when I moved in on the 5th, and she said something to me about it like a couple of days later. She said, well, actually, it was her husband that said, you could just give us $50 a week. So I gave them $50 a week.
$50 a week while you were there?
Right.
And that covered your rent, food, gas, electric, whatever, and you were working?
Right.
And when did you move out?
I moved out on January the 28th.
Why?
Because there was just disputes going on. They didn't have a car. I felt like they were using me a lot. I picked her up from work, took her to work.
So you were there for about 3 weeks?
Right.
What stuff did you move into the house?
I moved in my bed. I moved in a tall dresser, I guess you would call it a chest. I had, obviously, clothes, a bunch of shoes. I had a nightstand. All of it was a matching set. I had a TV. I had 2 lamps.
Where did you go when you moved out on the 28th?
I went and stayed with another one of my friends. That was just a short period of time, but now I live with my boyfriend.
And when did you try to make contact with the defendant with regard to retrieving your stuff?
Okay, the first attempt that I tried was on February the 9th. We had spoke, everything was fine to come and get my stuff, and actually it didn't go through because the person that I had didn't come through with the truck the morning of. I tried calling them all day. They didn't answer. Finally, when I talked to them, they said, I didn't hear from you. I don't know why they said they didn't hear from me because I did try calling them.
Well, but you had made arrangements with them for the 9th of February.
Right.
And you didn't come.
Right.
To pick up your stuff. Okay, so go ahead. When was the next time?
Okay, the next time was February the 17th. We had set up everything to come, and when I called her, she acted like she didn't know what I was talking about. She said, you can't just pop up on me, and I said, we had a conversation saying that I could come and get it. You know, I didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, I have somebody that's going to help me come and get my stuff. And she said,
well, when had you made this arrangement to get it on the 17th?
Well, the 9th, when I talked to her before, when I finally got to talk to her, that's when we set up for the 17th. Because we had to work around her work schedule. I couldn't come when it was just her husband there. They acted like they both had to be there. You know, I didn't really understand the runaround that they were giving me. I didn't know if they wanted my stuff out.
Well, so far there's no runaround. So far you had a date and you didn't show up. That was one date. Then you said on the 9th you made a date for the 17th.
Right.
Had you called back before the 17th, on the 16th, and spoken to them or texted them and said, I absolutely will be there tomorrow at such and such a time?
I don't believe that I talked to them before that, but I mean, when I talked to her on the phone, it was set in stone. Okay, you can come.
Well,
the
it can't be on the set in stone. Was it set in stone on the 9th?
Well, it was set in stone, but I woke up that morning and the person who had my truck said that they couldn't come.
But I'm trying to say it's set in stone unless there's a change.
Right.
So that would seem to me that since you didn't show up on the 9th, the smart thing to do would be to call, text, email, and say, I'm coming tomorrow, because it's not set in stone, so that they don't work their day around something, since they were doing you a favor and holding your stuff. It just makes sense to do that.
Okay, well, I called her. I was talking about I can't just pop up on her and things like that. I said, you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, well, I have a truck. Can I come and get my stuff still? And she said, I can't because I have to work. When originally she was supposed to be off. And then I said, well, what is David doing? And she said that he was taking their son to the circus. And I was like, all day? You're taking your son to the circus all day? I was like, if you want my stuff out, then can I just come and get it? I was like, I have somebody that's willing to help me. And she said no.
Did you make another date?
We did. We made an arrangement for the 26th.
February 26th. And what happened on the 26th?
On the 26th, I actually rented a U-Haul truck, which I have a receipt for.
Okay.
And pretty much it was the same thing when I called them. They didn't want to answer, and I couldn't get a hold of them.
What happened on the 26th?
She didn't call, Your Honor, until the day of and let me know that she had a truck and she was ready to come. But I wasn't able to do it. I was working.
Just a sec. How old is your child?
He's 5.
So a 5-year-old goes to bed at what time?
About 9 o'clock.
And she has the U-Haul it for the day. Why didn't you say to her, come on and pick your stuff up? Because if he goes to bed at 9, he has to get ready to go to bed at 8. So why don't you come by at 8 o'clock and pick up your stuff? Unless you were just looking to be difficult.
I don't believe I was looking to be difficult.
That's a question. If your son goes to bed at 9, gets ready to go to bed, takes a bath, brushes his teeth, you read him a bedtime story, at 8 o'clock, why don't you come on over and pick up your bed and your dresser and your TV?
Because it had been such a hassle, and
It's not a hassle. Now she wants her stuff out of your house. And you want the stuff out of your house because you've got a ridiculous counterclaim for storage. So what I'm saying to you is, why didn't you just say to her, come on by and get your stuff, unless you just wanted to be a little bit of a breaker.
No, Your Honor, I just feel like she was kind of using me.
Well, I have to tell you something. That answer dismisses your counterclaim for storing her stuff. Now I'm going to ask you, where is her stuff?
I sold it.
When?
On March the 1st.
To whom?
To a friend.
No, don't look over there. Over here. To whom?
Jesse.
Did he pay you in check or cash?
Cash.
How much?
$200.
And when had you made arrangements to sell him the stuff?
On the 1st of March.
Tell me how that came about.
I just feel like that...
I don't care what you feel like. On the 1st, you made arrangements to sell to Jesse this stuff.
Well, I'm not a storage unit, and she
Don't
wasn't
tell me what
paying
you're not.
the rent.
I want to know how you... Did you put an ad in the paper? Did you call him?
It was by
Did
voice
he call you?
on the phone.
What?
It was on the phone.
Who called whom?
I called him.
Well, what made you think that Jesse wanted to buy her furniture?
Because he was looking for things. He had just moved into a house.
Oh, and you knew that?
Yes.
Is he a friend of yours or your husband's?
My husband's.
And you called him?
Yes, ma'am.
I think she was vindictive in getting rid of your furniture. There's something else going on here. You're suing her for $1,900. I'm issuing a judgment to you for $1,900. You can't do that. Outrageous. You can't sell her stuff. February 9th is her own fault. The next time I think you were just being a pain on the 17th. What's your son's name?
Aiden.
I assume that Aiden lives with you full time?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if Aiden lives with you full time, then he goes to bed at 9 o'clock full time. So if you go to work, I assume you don't work 24 hours a day?
No.
So that somebody could be home, so she could pick up her stuff on the 17th. You chose to be obnoxious for a reason. I'm not sure why. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Everything started falling apart when she started getting mad at me when I couldn't take her places. Pretty much when I told her I thought it'd be better if I moved out, she got mad because I'm not going to be paying her no more.
She just uses people.
She says I used her when really she's the one who used me the whole time.
I think that Jennifer Orange just gives people to run around.
She used my car. She used the gas money to take her places. Pretty much any way anybody can be used, she used me. And obviously she sold all my things. She's probably got her son laying in my bed right now.
She commits adultery, and her husband will know that one day.
That's something that she has no idea about. That's actually something that I'm not even going to talk about because it's ridiculous. She's just trying to make me look bad, obviously, because she looks stupid.
Miss Piscatello, these two people rented an apartment from you?
That's correct.
What kind of premises was it?
It was a month-to-month lease. I own an apartment building with 2 upper row flats, tattoo shop in the basement, and my shop on the other side, and also a huge concrete basement.
What did you rent to them?
The upper flat in the back.
Do you have a lease?
I have a 30-day month-to-month
I'd like
agreement.
to see it, please. Okay, this is dated September 1st, 2012. It was signed by both defendants. The rent was $750. It was for an apartment. Okay, tell me what it is that you think that they owe you.
What happened is around December 22nd, I received a text from the tattoo shop owner that their parties had to stop.
Just a second. So this lease started in September.
Correct.
Well, you paid your rent of $750 a month.
Correct.
Up through December.
Correct.
Okay. When did you move out?
We moved out officially the beginning of...
Not officially. When did you move out?
February.
They were evicted February 19th was their final day.
Do you have the eviction proceeding? I'd like to take a look at it. Why were you evicted? Asking them. Why were you evicted?
Because we didn't pay our rent for January. However, after we went to court for it, it was proved that we did, but we were evicted anyway.
You mean the judge found that you were right but evicted you anyway?
Yeah, because she wanted...
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Sometimes you have good judges, sometimes you have not so good judges, not psychotic judges. They found you were right, but they evicted you anyway?
It was because we didn't pay rent for February and we were willing to move. We were willing to leave. And so they said go through with the eviction, and that's how it happened.
What do you want from them?
I need $3,000 for the repairs from damages that they had. They were advertising on Facebook an underage drinking club. They invited over 3,500 kids to this party.
Where?
In my basement. They basically turned the basement into a nightclub. They neon spray painted the entire basement. They neon spray painted
Did they
the
have your
apartment.
permission to do that?
They did not have any permission to use the basement for anything other than a free laundry and also their hot water tanks, which they need access to.
I'm listening.
Okay. We not only asked for permission, but we cleaned up the basement.
No. Show me. This is your lease.
Yes.
Listen to me carefully.
Yes.
If you modify this lease by including apartment number 2 and basement, it has to be in writing.
It wasn't. But also when she asked us to stop the parties, we did.
What are you, crazy? What are you, nuts? You rented apartment number 2. You took over another part of the premises that you had no right to take over. And you were having a commercial operation in the basement of her building. Why do you think that's funny?
I don't. I'm just smiling at her description. We not only made sure by having someone at the door.
Are you crazy? You stole her premises.
We asked.
You stole her property. You had somebody at the door. When you were asked to stop, you stopped.
Yes.
All I'm asking you is show me something where she said, sure, do whatever you want with the basement. Make it into a nightclub if you want to, with a bouncer at the door, checking IDs. Show me. You have something to show me? No, you have a paper. Paper, not paper.
Paper. We have pictures.
Paper.
We have pictures of actually the tattoo shop that she speaks of that supposedly.
Sit.
Okay, I apologize.
Paper saying she's renting you at no fee the entire basement that is large enough to have a nightclub. All I want to do is see it.
We don't have that.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. Sit up. Next. You're grifters, I swear. By the way, can I just see the pictures of this? See the pictures of this premises.
This is the nightclub is in the neon spray paint in the upstairs apartment, number 1, which way they were using as their drinking apartment.
I just would like to see the basement, please.
The basement is the neon spray paint.
And these are pictures of the basement?
Correct. That's where the nightclub was.
Must have been a cold winter in Buffalo. Now, this is Mr. Seltzer. Setzer. How do you know them?
They've been my friend for about 4 years.
Were you living in her building before them?
I occasionally stayed in their flat.
Where did you live?
I lived. I was living at my dad's house, and I was living in.
Listen to me. I want you to eliminate the word "like" from your answers.
I apologize.
Now, how often would you stay at their flat?
Probably 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week.
That's not true.
Shh. Look, so far I got it. Don't you see? I put it all together. I have children and grandchildren, and they have schemes and plans and plots.
And parties.
Who's Megan Krug?
That would be me.
Who's Sebastian? That would be Sebastian. And who was Marcus? That's you.
Yes.
You're not listed here. 2 nights or 3 nights. This is their lease, their month-to-month lease. Let me read to you what it says.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Tenant agrees that said apartment shall be used and occupied for no other purpose other than as a dwelling, and that said apartment shall be occupied only by tenant and the following named adults. Or a 2, a 3.
Yes. But, Your Honor, is there anything wrong with spending the night at a friend's house? These friends have been my friends for 4 years.
No, there's nothing wrong with once in a while spending a night at a friend's house. That's not what you just testified to.
That's all.
What you just testified to is you spend 2 or 3 nights a week there.
Yeah.
That's what you just. That's not occasionally.
Okay.
Great.
Yes.
Now, what do you want from him?
Corey is the DJ who was running the club in the basement. He was also having other DJs come to this club. He then found out I was evicting them and said he would pay for the back rent that they owed, plus the security deposit to repair the damage they created. He signed over a DJ check to me for $2,950. I deposited the check and it bounced. I called.
Just a minute. Why did you give her a check for $3,000?
Because she was trying to evict them from the apartment.
She was trying to evict them for what?
Because that weekend.
Because they had not paid the rent.
No, Your Honor. Because that weekend we were going to Tennessee, and she knew that if.
Don't tell me what she knew.
Okay.
Don't tell me what she knew.
Well,
I want to know the conversation that you had with her. Listen to me very carefully.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
You had a conversation with her. Where did it take place?
It took place in their flat.
Who was present other than you and the plaintiff?
Sebastiano, Marcus, and Megan.
And I want you to tell me she came to their house.
Their house, yes.
And you had the conversation with her. Mm-hmm. She can't sue you for being a DJ.
No, I was interested in renting the other apartment.
So she has the flu. She wants to get pneumonia.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I never rented the place. There's 2 different reasons for that check alone. And that was 1, to pay for their rent, and B, to pay for the lease for another apartment, which I never received, and I moved out. I take all my stuff.
You
I cut all
moved
the time.
in.
I never moved in.
Oh, yes, you did. If your stuff was there, you were there.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. In a separate case, Wendy Piscatello is suing former tenant, 23-year-old Corey Setzer, for unpaid rent. Wendy claims Corey and his friends turned the basement of her rental unit into an underage nightclub.
Now, why did you give her a check for $2,900?
Because she said she was going to take all of their stuff as well as any equipment that I had in the apartment while I was in Tennessee, and she said that she was going to forcefully evict us with him.
That's not true. I do legal evictions. You cannot touch their property. You have to keep their property for them in trust.
You want to tell me, since I'm going to get polite but untruthful answers from him, you want to tell me what you said to him and what he said to you?
The only reason they were in both apartments is because he, on December 11th, gave me $750 security deposit to rent the front apartment. That is where the bar was being held for their parties. They were living and using mattresses for all of their party kids in the second apartment. The front apartment was where they had their bar. They had
How did you know that? Did you know that prior to
No, this was all found
December
out.
11th?
This was all found out when I tried to cash his check.
I want to get to the conversation about getting the check because he gave you the check for something. So I want to hear about the conversation with regard to the check.
Right. He had given me the $750 security deposit for apartment number 1. And on January 1st, he owed the rent for the January 1st apartment, plus they owed their $750. They paid me $451. 3 days later, they paid me $209. So they had a balance of $119. I then, when I found out about these parties from the tattoo shop, told them, guys, I'm just going to evict you. You won't be owing your rent.
Okay. Sorry, no.
You won't be owing your rent past this February when you will still be staying here. So what happened was he came running down before they were going to Tennessee and said, if I give you this DJ check, can we stay and then make other arrangements? And I said, absolutely. If you give me $3,000, I will give you a receipt for $750 for your rent for January, the $119 for the rent, the balance of their rent, which he agreed to. And then I told him I will give you a receipt for $1,331 for a security deposit for the damage you've already caused.
Got it. So that's when he gave you the check?
Gave me the check.
Can I see the check, please?
Yeah, actually twice. I deposited it twice. And these are the receipts.
I canceled it, Your Honor, by the way.
I know, that's why we're here.
Yes.
Because you gave her a check, in effect, guaranteed their rent
She
and
never
your
made a
rent.
lease with me.
It doesn't
I
have to make
discussed
a
with
lease
her
with
on
you.
numerous
Listen to
occasions.
me. What you did was, and this is proof of it, you took upon their obligation for a certain part of their rent, as well as your own, and you gave her a check in order to prevent her from doing something that she had the legal right to do,
No, Your Honor,
which was,
I paid for that to rent the place.
Which was to evict them.
No, Your Honor.
No, listen to me. You say no. I say yes. I'm the law.
I'm sorry, Your
I'm the
Honor.
law wrong.
Absolutely.
You gave her a check in order to
rent my side of the apartment. That was what that was for. She has the receipts in her hand right there for what the purposes were. If you would like to see them, she has them right there.
He did come down to my shop and give me this scrawled receipt.
Okay.
He then took it to the tattoo shop to have them witness that he was agreeing to pay the $2,950.
Yes.
Right. He's paying $2,950 exchanged for the months of January, February of 2013. On the date of January 10th, this check will clear on January 13th. If this check is cashed before January 13th, the funds will not be available. So what do you want?
And can you look at the dates that the checks were trying to be cashed?
January 10th.
Which was before the 13th, Your Honor, which they weren't going to clear.
It may have been deposited in the bank then.
Okay.
The check was issued by the record label one month.
Doesn't matter.
I know, but
it
if they
doesn't
explained
matter.
to me it was supposed to clear on the 13th.
Listen to me. She may have put it in 3 days early.
Yes.
So what?
They locked my basement up when I was in Tennessee, locked all my equipment. They lost laundry.
Counterclaim.
And I was like, no, I'm not dealing this with anymore.
Counterclaim.
I dropped the check.
Counterclaim.
I would not like to do that. I just don't want to deal with her.
In the amount of $2,900.
Can you explain to me where that $2,900 comes from?
$950, because I did try to explain it to you, sir.
There's two receipts there. One is for them, one is for me for renting the place.
It matters not to me.
I never rented the place. There's two different reasons for that check alone. And that was one, to pay for their rent, and B, to pay for the lease for another apartment, which I never received, and I moved out. I take all my stuff. I cut all the time.
You moved in.
I never moved in.
Oh, yes, you did. If your stuff was there, you were there.
I moved my stuff in the basement because I was advised by her that I was allowed to do that.
Out, will you please?
Okay, Your Honor.
$2,950. That's
all.
Thank
you may step out.
I'm very pleased. I think they didn't understand the responsibility they put me under as a landlord when they were having underage parties in my building.
We didn't have underage parties.
Broken beer bottles, whiskey bottles, trash everywhere. I mean, the place, neon paint everywhere. It was graffiti. It was pretty disgusting.
They hit one of my maintenance men in the head with a hammer.
The gentleman you spoke to accidentally hit either his friend or himself with a hammer.
Be more careful when I rent my building.
I'll never regret any decision. We have money to pay.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Trowbridge versus Reese. Step forward.
Bradley Trowbridge is suing his ex-fiancée, Shannon Reese, for the return of his electronic equipment and for pawning an engagement ring.
Mr. Trowbridge, you and Miss Reese were an on and off couple for a period of time. There was a period of time, according to your complaint, when you were supposed to get married. You bought rings, then you broke up, then you got back together again, and you broke up again. Your claim alleges that Miss Reese has property that belongs to you. You want to be compensated with either the property or the value thereof.
That is correct, Your
What
Honor.
property is it that you allege she has?
a Sharp Aquios TV, 60-inch.
Just a second. Do you have the receipt for that?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am, I
purchase
do.
it? I'd like to see it.
Yes. Surround sound.
Just a second. Surround sound. What else?
A laptop.
Laptop.
A bed that we had previously agreed to, but we decided to hold off until after this proceeding was over.
Well, you talked about the bed, but not about the TV, the surround sound, and the laptop?
Oh, sure. She claims that she put it outside and left for the day, and when she got home, they were gone.
Okay.
And she assumed that I picked it up.
Just a second. Now, give me the date that you left the house, please.
I believe it was October the 3rd.
And there was some sort of an altercation that day, is that right? You have a counterclaim. Where is the 60-inch TV, and is that his TV?
It is his TV, and he has it.
The last time you saw it, where was it?
I put it out under my carport in between his motorcycle and my dumpsters.
And the carport is open?
Yes.
Okay. Where's the surround sound?
I put those belongings out there for him.
And the laptop?
The laptop was in one of the bags with all of his stuff.
Well, how long, Miss Reese, had he been living with you?
About a month. He moved in September 3rd.
Okay. So let me tell you what the law is. He says he doesn't have it. And if somebody else came by your open carport and took his 60-inch TV, his surround sound, and his laptop, then you're responsible to replace it. You cannot just leave it outside. You have to make arrangements with a police officer if necessary to arrange for him to come and pick up his property. But you can't just toss it by throwing it out into a carport. That's the same thing as throwing it out on the street. Now, did you pick up your motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
When?
Around October the 4th or 5th.
Tell me about when you picked up the motorcycle.
My brother here dropped me off, and I got on the motorcycle. He stayed and made sure it started, and I left. She had claimed that she put that stuff out by my motorcycle, but there was nothing there. And she claims that she had a friend help her move that stuff outside, and I asked her to file a police report, and she never did.
Is that right?
Yes, I did have a friend help me move that stuff out.
Did you file a police report with regard to the stolen property?
No, because I believe that he has his stuff.
He says he doesn't, and he asked you to file a police report. He says he has the motorcycle, so I don't believe that you put it out there. How's that? I don't believe that you put out a 16-inch television set and a laptop outside in an open carport. I think you're lying. Now, how much was the TV and how much was the laptop?
Your Honor, the TV was $1,299.
$1,300. How much was the laptop?
$800. And I do have the receipt for the other items that are missing, including the bed and the mattress. And
I mean, you're talking about box spring and mattress,
No,
or you're
ma'am.
talking about a wooden bed set?
We're talking about an $805 bed with a $400 mattress.
Just a second. Let's talk about the bed. Who paid for the bed?
I did.
Okay. Well, then you get somebody there to come pick it up.
Yes, ma'am.
So far, $2,100. Let's get to your counterclaim. I'm listening.
Okay, just for the time that he lived at my apartment, I was the one that paid for the bills and the
I don't
rent.
care about that. What else?
After we broke up, because of how things were, I ended up leaving and having to stay with other friends.
Why?
Because I was afraid to be at home by myself.
Why?
Because of how things were between us that night.
Well, you want to describe it?
Yelling, screaming in my face, calling me horrific names. He ended up throwing his gun at me. So, yes, for about a week I stayed with other friends, and I had my ex-husband keep my kids.
That was a bad breakup. It's over. You owe him $2,100 because I don't believe that you put his stuff out.
Your Honor. The rings that I bought for her.
Forget it. I don't care.
I have the rings, but she pawned them, and I had to repay to get them back out.
After you repaid to get them out, did you and the defendant sleep together?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Then I'm not interested. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Thank you. That's it.
Excuse, you may step out.
She needs to get some help. She's in a lifestyle that she needs to get away from.
I'm just glad it's over.
I think when she does that, she'll be able to move on and be happy in her life.
It's been hard enough that I'm just glad that this is over and I don't have...
I wish her luck because I do love her.
Who were they?
I'm Sandoval. Emily.
You stand over there, where they are. And who's Strandberg?
Me.
That's you.
Yep.
Everybody else sit. I read these two ridiculous cases. You know each other from someplace, and some of you like each other, and some of you feel that somebody else disrespected each other with a girl at a party. All of that stuff is meaningless to me. I don't care. Not only don't I care, but Bird doesn't care. And after reading your complaints and your answers and trying to make heads or tails of what you have to say in these things, all I care about is one thing. You're suing him for what?
The cost of slashed tires.
So you are accusing this young man of slashing your tires. On what date?
August 8th of 2012.
See how easy this is going to be?
Yes, ma'am.
And before August 8th, 2012, did you know him?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about your slashed tires that happened on August 8th, 2012.
Well, early in the morning, my dad woke me up saying that DJ...
Don't tell me what your father said. Is your father here?
No, he's not.
Great. Then you can't tell me anything he said. Keep going.
DJ was down by the boat landing right next to my house, stuck in the water.
How did you know that?
I've seen it.
You saw him?
I've seen him.
No. You saw him.
I saw him.
Better. Was your boat stuck?
My truck was stuck.
Your truck was stuck. And?
And I went down there to see what was going on, and I went back up to my house to discover my 2 front tires were slashed. So I went back down to the boat landing and confronted them about it. And I asked him, do you know anything about my tires being slashed? And they were kind of nervous. DJ and his friends, Chip.
Where's Chip?
That's Chip.
Did either one of them acknowledge that they had, in fact, done anything to your tires?
Not at that time.
So nobody saw anybody damage your tires, is that correct?
I found out later, but Chip witnessed DJ slashing the tires.
Stand.
Yes, Your Honor.
What were you doing on August 8th, 2012?
I was called over there to help him get out of the river and that stuff because his car wouldn't start. And so I went over there to help him.
And?
That's most I done. Just showed up there.
What?
I just showed up there.
Well, what does that have to do with tires?
We're getting to the point. I was going down there to help him and that stuff, and he took off and that stuff, and he went into my van, and he took a fillet knife out of my van. And
A what?
Fillet knife. For fishing.
Yes.
And he started walking up the street, so I followed behind him, and I saw him going through the woods and going up towards Luke's truck, and I heard a lot of hissing noise coming, and I asked him, what'd you do? He's like, I just slashed his tires.
Did you ask him why?
He did. He didn't say nothing. He just kept on saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, before he gets up, and it's like, okay, whatever, I gotta go.
Great. Now you can sit down.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go!
All right, so I was with a couple of friends, a girl and a buddy, and we went and stopped by Chip's house. He was not home, so my friends wanted to go mudding, and a lot of them go mudding by his house.
What's mudding?
You go off-road with your truck.
What?
Go off-road with your truck.
Keep going.
So I went down there and I ended up getting stuck. I called Chip. He wouldn't pick up, so I went and asked Luke's dad. You know, he came to the door, and he was nice enough to pull me out of the river. Well, Chip eventually showed up after I got it out, and we had to get the gas out of my gas tank.
Tires!
I'm getting to that.
Well, get to it.
Well, basically, Chip showed up, and then there was a smoke bomb in his van, and he asked me if I knew about it. I said no. And then we went up to his mom, and his mom said, who threw the smoke bomb in my van? It was DJ, and I said, why would I throw a smoke bomb in your van when I'm here right now?
Tires!
I'm getting there. And, well, Chip's mom got mad, and she told us to go retaliate. She think Luke did it, so she said, go do something back to his truck. So we went back there, and Chip's mom told him to slash his tires, and that's what he did.
So he slashed the tires?
Yeah.
No, Your Honor, it's not true.
Is that your evidence?
Yes, it is.
Great. Is that your evidence?
Yeah, and then he accused me of still doing it, and then he threatened to shoot me if I don't tell him the truth.
Shh, just a second. So you have no proof that he slashed your tires?
I have.
You have this guy over here who he says was the one who slashed the tires.
He was with me the entire time.
Did it.
One of them did it.
I guess
How,
one of them
so?
did it.
How am I supposed to know who did it? Put your hand down. How am I supposed to know who did it? How am I supposed to know who did it? One of them did it. What am I supposed to do?
Can I
Flip a
say
coin?
something?
Quiet. You don't have any proof who slashed your tires.
DJ admitted to Mitch that he slashed my tires.
I didn't know such thing.
Shh. Mitch, you have a last name.
Mitchell Reinhardt.
I'll call you Mitch.
All right, sounds good. Well, I was at Luke's house with Chip and everyone else. Well, we had a little get-together. And I heard that DJ was...
Don't tell me what you heard. I'm not interested in what you heard. I'm interested only in a conversation that you had with Mr. Strandberg over there at some point about the slashed tires.
Well, later that night, I called DJ, and he was giving me attitude. And I'm like, did you slash Luke's tires? He's like, so what if I did?
And?
So I asked him again, and he said, yes, I did.
Sit. You have no case. Now we're going to do another case with you people. Who's Paulson? Strandberg. That would be you?
You.
Same Strandberg. Who are you?
Charles Margus.
You're lucky. You're not one of these people who were mentioned.
You missed him. He was supposed to be in the last case, but I guess you didn't care.
I missed him. Oh, thank God. Who's suing him?
I am. I'm part of the family. I was part of the deal.
I know you're part of the family. Sit down until I need you.
All right.
What are you suing him for?
Damage to my...
Damage to your van.
He put a military bomb in my car.
What kind of military bomb?
It's a smoke bomb dye. He was at my house. Chip was, like, flipping out, saying that GJ's here, and GJ's not allowed at my house because every time he comes in my house, he breaks stuff, and he's got a violent temper. And
Somebody put a smoke bomb
Yes, I
in.
have the tape.
Does the tape show me?
Yes.
Shh.
Sorry.
You didn't
I'm
let me
nervous.
finish. Does the tape show me who did it?
No. But it shows you the damages in my van.
Well, first I have to figure out if we know who did it. Then I look at damages. Like if you have a car accident,
Sorry.
you tell me the story about the accident. If I find that he, as a matter of fact, was responsible for putting a smoke bomb in your van, then I'll take a look at your damage. I don't look at the damage first and then decide who did it. You know, that's not the way it works.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Yeah, I know who did it if you want me to say it.
Do I want you to say it? I don't care.
And later today,
I call him and I tell him that I'm going to be moving out on the 1st of the month, that I cannot be living here anymore. It's not safe for me nor my daughter. And he tells me, why don't you just leave now?
cases, real people, Judge Judy. Christine Paulson and her son Chip are suing DJ Strandberg for Christine claims DJ set off a smoke bomb inside the vehicle.
So somebody put a smoke bomb in your van. Who saw them do it?
Well, nobody saw him do it, but he
Okay.
was at my house at 5 o'clock in the morning. What would he doing at my house at 5 o'clock in the morning when he knows that he's not allowed at my house at any time?
Is that the reason that you think a court is going to find him guilty of vandalizing your truck because he was there at 5 o'clock in the morning?
What reason did he have to come to my house?
The fact that he was at your house.
Yeah, but he had 3 other friends in this house, and the girl that was with DJ at the time was dating my son, and she
They
told...
weren't dating
You
yet.
can't tell me what anybody told you. This is a court.
Hey, I know who did it if you want me to say it.
Do I want you to say it? I don't care.
Luke got the smoke bomb out of his boat. He admitted to me that he did it.
Great. Do you have any other proof other than he was at your house at 5 o'clock in the morning that he
Just the
put a-
damages.
No, the damages don't prove who did it.
Well, in my case, it doesn't prove that it didn't.
Thank you. Goodbye, all. Go home.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was just with my friends, and then they showed up. We didn't want him there. And then he got mad, so he slashed my tires.
He does have some violent behavior.
I hope they just grow up and stop, fooling around like kids. They got to grow up sometime.
That's why I'm leaving me alone.
And now the next case.
Seated. Folks have a seat.
Miss Albrecht, it is your claim that the defendant vandalized your car.
Yes, ma'am.
I gather from your complaints that you and the defendant met at work?
Yes, ma'am. In the summer of 2011.
And then were in a relationship for a brief period of time. From when to when?
Probably from November till about February of 2012.
When did this incident take place of vandalism to your car?
2012.
Go ahead. Tell me what happened.
Basically, on November 10th, I went out to Cal City with a friend of mine. Some other friends were camping. We went out there. It was really cold. We left early, came back to Lancaster, and decided to stop for a drink at a local bar there. And I had sent a message to the defendant and also to another friend of mine that lived in Lancaster and asked them if they wanted to join us for a drink.
What time was that?
7:20, 7:25 maybe.
Go ahead.
She replied, yes, I'll meet you there. Just let me know when you're there. And then also my other friend, Jack, who's with me today, he said, yes, please come get me.
So you texted? Is that what you did?
I texted Jack, and I had sent the defendant a Facebook message.
This used to be so much easier. All you had to do was make a phone call. Made a phone call. You actually spoke to somebody. They said, you want to come meet me for a drink? They said yes. There was no drama. It was so much easier. Anyway, Jack said yes, he would like to come.
Yes, we arrived at the bar about 7:45, maybe 7:40. The bar didn't open till 8. There were some taco vendors. Jack got out of the car, went and had some tacos. I had sent Kelly a message over Facebook saying that I was there. She showed up, and I was sitting with my friend Cheryl, who's not here today, and basically just started yelling at me and verbal language. I rolled down the window a little bit just because I kind of knew where it was going to go.
Okay, so this was before 8. She got there
Yes.
before 8,
This
and
is-
you were sitting with your friend.
Yes.
In the car.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, she yelled out a few things, got back in the car and left. Got out of the car, went and talked to Jack, said, oh my gosh, Kelly just came by, threw out a few things. Bar opened, we went in, and it was hot in the bar. It was freezing cold outside this particular weekend, and we had jackets on. The heater in the bar, it was super hot. Came out about 10 minutes later to put our jackets in the car. I went out first, Jack was right behind me, and as I'm walking out of the bar, I see the defendant going with her key down the side of my car and then crouching down to let the air out of my back tire. At that point, I said, what the are you doing? And Jack was behind me, and he said, get out of here. And...
Okay, you have pictures of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
There you go.
So she scratched the side of your car. You put air in your tires. She didn't destroy the tires. She just took the air.
No, she just...
Okay. Jack, you have a last name, I'm sure. Could you stand up, please? Before I get to you. Now it's your turn.
I would love to speak. She's already not telling the truth.
Now listen to me. Don't tell me she's not telling the truth.
We were together longer than what she's stating.
Good.
To begin with.
Good. Now, let's get to November 10th.
November 10th. I wasn't at home. She didn't know where I was.
Just a second. I don't care.
Okay, so I arrived at the bar. She invited me.
Let's talk about the things that are important. She sent a message to you via Facebook that she was going to be at the bar.
Yes.
And were you at that time still in a relationship, or were you not?
No, we were not.
That's the answer. You were not. She sent you a message that she was going to be at this bar.
Yes.
And you decided to go and meet her.
First, a little detail on the message. I was a little caught off guard because she had told me she was having foot surgery that morning, and I was a little surprised she was at a bar.
Fine.
Then,
not important to the story.
I was interested in who she was there with since she was inviting me because she tends to like to create drama.
Listen to me.
So I asked her who she was there with, and she did not want to answer me who she was there with. Once I got there, this man wasn't even there. So I find it interesting that they're saying...
You don't know whether he was there or not. You don't know whether he was there or not.
She was there.
All you can say is you didn't see him.
I did not see him, and the people that arrived with her in her vehicle, there were 3 people, and they were there, and I spoke to them.
But you did not see him.
No, I did not see him.
All right. Okay.
So
and then, just tell me what happened.
I arrived, and I parked right next to the plaintiff's car, got out of my car, and as I got out, I looked into her car, and she was in the back seat with a coworker, and they were kissing. I proceeded to walk to the bar door, tried to open the door was locked. I noticed to the right of me, there was someone I knew, someone I had met in the past that is a friend of the plaintiff's. I had words with her, and she gave me a hug, and we had a little bit of a conversation about the bar not being open and about what time the bar did open. And then I heard 2 car doors close, so I turned around, and she and the other woman that she was with in the back seat got out of their car, both on each side, and started walking towards me. At this time, I was walking towards them because I was leaving after seeing the company she was with. So I said to her, in the back seat of your car, really? And she laughed and said that her friend needed to fix her bra. And I looked at her friend and I said, you do realize that Kim did invite me here? And she said, I don't care. And I got in my car and I left. I parked a street over, texted her through Facebook message that I thought what she did was mean, and I hated her. And I have all of those messages here if you're interested in them.
Probably will.
And then I went home.
Okay.
And when I arrived home, she was parked in front of my house, rolled her window down and said, you keyed my effing car. I ran back the side of my house to the back house where my mom lives because I did not want to be anywhere near her by myself because she's been abusive to me in the past, physically. I did not trust the situation and did not know why she was in front of my home or what she was saying.
Okay, so?
So then I ran and my mom was not dressed, so it took her a little longer to get her robe on. My 13-year-old daughter ran out with me. She had turned her car around facing the other way of the street, had her windows up, she was on her cell phone, and she sped off.
Okay, that's it.
That's all I know.
Okay, Jack.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know the plaintiff?
I've worked with her. I've known her for over 5 years now at the school.
Were you at this bar on the 10th of November?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you were doing there.
The month before my wife passed away, and Kim decided that I shouldn't be sitting at home and grieving about it, so she was taking me to dinner a couple of times, and she invited me to come out to the bar with her. I don't drink, but I wanted to go just to get out of the house. She picked me up. I was in the back seat. I met this woman that was with her, older lady named Cheryl. I never met her before. We got to the bar, and I got out to go get tacos. And I ate the tacos. The bar opened, I went inside. We came in, it was hot inside. And I had my coat on, so we all decided to go put our coats away. I went out with her, and I was with her, and I
Why didn't you all leave your coats in the bar?
I didn't. I had a leather jacket. I didn't want it.
You don't want to leave your jacket in Lancaster in the bar.
Got it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Billy Albrecht says ex-girlfriend Kelly Pazek vandalized her car. Kelly denies committing any vandalism.
Go ahead.
When I walked out, at the time I didn't know it was her. I saw her later. I knew it was her. Found out it was her, going like this, and then going down to the back. Well, when I yelled, she stood up and turned. That's when I realized I saw who it was.
Had you seen her before?
Oh yes, ma'am. I've seen her before. I've seen her at our school talking to Kim, and I yelled, "You better get out of here!" And she went off, and I said, "I'm out of here." back. I went back inside.
Your Honor, though, it's interesting that this man, Jack, would hang out at a gay bar in Lancaster. I find that really hard to believe, just so you know.
I didn't. It was a bar. They invited me out. I went wherever they took me, Your Honor.
Wasn't there.
Listen to me. You didn't see him.
I did not see him there. You're absolutely correct.
Could I see the estimate to fix your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, she also did not file a police report, which I thought was really interesting. If somebody did something to my car, I would file a police report.
Maybe not.
I would call them immediately.
I actually have 2 police reports, Your Honor, if you'd like to see them.
I would.
Okay. There you go.
No.
Can I explain why there's 2, please?
First, let me look.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She filed police reports.
I haven't been spoken to by a police officer. They said that they would come in and they would interview me.
No.
Because
you keep speculating as to what might happen.
No, I called the police the next morning as well.
Listen to me. You keep speculating as to what might happen. Your statement to me was, I find it interesting that she wouldn't file a police report. And the answer is, she did file a police report. Okay. What kind of car do you have?
It's an Acura TL, a 2008.
Your Honor.
I'm finished. I'm done. Do you understand?
But there's more evidence. I'm
waiting to hear the rest of your evidence.
I'm just trying to show you the fact that the plaintiff has lied about this situation. I have emails from her that she kept emailing me, telling me I broke her gas cap to her car. I keyed the right side of the car. I keyed the trunk of the car. She kept going on, and the damages were getting worse and worse, and she wouldn't stop emailing me and contacting me. Okay. And none of it was true. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Very good. I understand what you're trying to get across. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,100. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Officer, excuse me. Step out.
She's a pathological liar, and I think anybody who runs into Kim and meets her should really stay away and run the other way.
I'm not the one that did the lying.
She set me up.
I did not set her up.
Inviting me there to see him and to get upset, and I don't know who keyed her car or if it was even keyed.
She doesn't want people to know she's 37 years old and she's out keying someone's car.
Stay away from crazy lesbians.
I'm happy it's done, and I just want to move on, and hopefully that's the end of everything.
Thanks, money.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ramirez versus Hilo. Step forward.
Carlos Ramirez is suing his stepdaughter, 19-year-old Shiraz Hilo, for the return of a car, the cost of repairs, and a year's worth of insurance premiums.
Mr. Ramirez, this is your stepdaughter. Is that right?
That's correct.
How long have you been her stepfather?
Almost 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
This is what your case is about, Mr. Ramirez. You said that when your stepdaughter became 18, you got her a car under the following terms and conditions.
That's
that
correct.
She would give her the car, put it in her name, and that she, in exchange, promised you that she would continue to stay in school and do well. She got the car. According to you, she shortly thereafter dropped out of school.
That's correct.
You took the car back.
No, I didn't take the
Well,
car
what
back.
happened was she left the car, according to you, because the car stopped running. You repaired the car, and then she came again and said, I want the car again. Well, you decided to give her another chance, according to you, and you let her take the car again.
Yes.
And she again, after a short period of time, dropped out of school.
Yes, that's correct.
So you want the value of the car and the repairs that you put in on the car.
That's correct.
She says the car was a gift. Now, did you make this agreement with her verbally, or did you have a written agreement with her?
The first time around, it was a verbal agreement.
And the second time?
A written agreement because I knew that she broke the first agreement.
I'd like to see the second agreement that you had with her after you said, all right, I'm going to give you another chance, take the car. I want to see that agreement. Oh, well, you promised to do certain things. You promised to assist my sister to get to and from school and work, and pledge that I'm going to make sure that the car continues to be insured, and pledge that I'm not going to misuse or abuse the vehicle in any way, that you'll return $320 to Carlos for this ticket, registration, and smog fees that were spent on the car. And I also pledge that if I broke any of the terms of this, my parents have the right to ask for the car back. No arguments. And you signed this October 1st, 2012. That's you.
Yes, but at the time I didn't have a choice. I needed the car to get back and forth to work.
That's too bad. You have a choice. Use your feet. Get a bicycle. You have a choice. What do you mean you have no choice? You know where Abe Lincoln was? Go see the movie. He walked to and from school.
The car was given to me as a gift in the first place.
May have been. See when you signed that?
It's not legal. It's not notarized.
Yes, it is. What do you mean it's not legal? You telling me what's legal or not? Young lady, are you telling me what's legal?
No, I wouldn't know.
No. Now we're going to see if you broke the agreement. If you broke the agreement, you're going to sign the title over the car. Done. Finito. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand? Let me see proof of insurance on the car.
I've got that.
Okay, she has insurance, according to this. Insurance effective date October 1st, 2012. Expiration date October 1st, 2013. Is this insurance current?
To my knowledge, it is current.
What do you mean to your knowledge? When was the last time you made a payment?
I have a receipt with me.
Great. I'd like to see them, please.
Your Honor, if I could explain some things.
All I want to see right now is that you have insurance payments.
Okay.
What is this for?
I believe that was the first payment.
Okay, now, if I call the brokerage company, are they going to tell me that your insurance is still valid?
To be honest, I do have insurance, but I am late. I live on my own, pay all of my own bills.
No. Late is not an answer. Either you have insurance or you don't.
Well, right now you could say I don't, but the car's not being driven at all.
Don't care.
What would I
So
insure?
the answer, listen to me. Don't waste my time. If I go and call Gladstone Insurance Services, are they going to tell me that this car is insured or not?
No.
Well, then you have to see the title that you have there. Officer Byrd, hand her a pen. Sign it over to him. Now. Now.
This isn't fair.
Sign it over to him now. That's what you agreed to. You're a big girl. You want to buy a car without conditions? Buy it. With your money. He buys a car for you with his money. You sign an agreement with him. You don't live up to the terms of the agreement. Sign it. I'm going to give you 3. Then I'm going to take it. I'm going to sign it for you. 1, 2, sign it. He gets the car back. That's what you signed. You're a big girl. You're 18 years old. Don't look at me with this look of incredulity on your face. Sign it.
Oh, my gosh.
Bird, would you hand that over to her stepfather, please? Now, you want a car? Go get a job.
Yeah, I have a job.
Great. Then buy a car.
You don't know what I do.
Go buy a car. This is the agreement you made with your father.
After the car was already in my name, it's in my name just because he decided to write a piece of paper.
Listen to me. It doesn't matter. This is the agreement you made with your stepfather. Listen to me. Big girl, 18 years old. You want to be a big girl? Find a car that you can afford, buy it, then you don't have any terms or conditions. It's his car. Your agreement with her is my parents can ask me back for the car if I don't live up to the terms and conditions that I agreed to. And she agreed to keep the car insured, which she didn't do.
Why would I insure a car that's not being driven?
I don't answer your questions, madam.
Sense.
In this piece of paper, it says you will keep the car insured so that you can drive yourself. I'm speaking, listening ears, so that you can drive yourself and your sister to work or to school. That was your agreement. So the car should be driven because not only were you supposed to take yourself to work and school, you were supposed to take your sister to school. You didn't live up to the terms of the agreement. You no longer have a car. Goodbye.
What is that excuse? You may step out.
She's a good kid, but she has a lot of growing up to do.
The agreement was to take my sister back and forth to school. That didn't work out soon after that was signed.
And if she wants to be an adult, she needs to start taking the steps to be a responsible adult.
He knew that I needed it and that I couldn't afford my own car, so he's using it against me.
I hope we can look past this.
I'll be fine.
I know she's upset right
And you may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Ramo, this is your mom, I assume.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is your former fiancé.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, this is what I gather from your papers. The two of you decided to get married. Each of your parents gave you $5,000 to put in an account towards the wedding.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that right?
Somewhat.
What's wrong with what I said?
They each contributed $5,000 to a joint bank account to help us get situated as a couple, which we did use part of the money for wedding expenses.
What do you mean get situated as a couple? What does that mean?
Well, Michael wasn't actually working full-time or anything just yet, so...
So?
Well, in the account, I mean, I was direct depositing all of my checks and everything into the account,
Now,
so
they gave
we
you
were kind of living
$5,000
off of that.
They gave you $5,000 towards the wedding. Put your hand down. When did you start living together?
We didn't.
So there was no rent, no gas, no electric, no nothing that you shared together?
No utilities or anything, no.
Nothing. No expenses. On what date did you propose, sir?
I proposed Thanksgiving 2010, Your Honor.
And you had been dating how much before that?
5 months, Your Honor.
On what date did your parents give you $5,000 to put into an account?
They put it in on between January 2011 and March 11th of 2011.
And on what date did your mother give you $5,000?
They gave us the check on April 9th, 2011, Your Honor.
And on what date were you supposed to be married?
June 22nd, 2012, Your Honor.
This is what the case is about. You weren't living together. You had no joint expenses. The only expenses that you had were the planning of a wedding. So your parents gave you $5,000. His mother gave him $5,000. That means you had $10,000. The wedding didn't come off. Mr. Ramos says you received back returned deposits from a variety of places, and he feels as if he should have back half of the deposits that were refundable deposits since you received them, and he contributed to them because you took the money out of a joint bank account to pay for them. That's what the case is about. It's simple. Okay. Do you have what you claim were the refunds that the defendant received?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see them.
Can I just say something? Is there proof of her parents depositing $5,000? Do you have any proof of that?
No, I don't have any proof. Your Honor, this is a check for $5,000.
Don't need it. There's no issue that both parents, listen to me, that both parents gave you $5,000. What are you talking about?
Well, we just have documentation of us giving...
It doesn't matter. That's not what the lawsuit is about. The lawsuit seeks the return of half of the deposits that she received for the wedding. I read the case very carefully. That's what the complaint alleges. We are seeking money for our half of unreturned deposits, wedding package, and honeymoon. Now, can I please have the proof of what deposits were returned?
Your Honor, can I just say something?
No.
Your Honor, this is a check that Ms. Slavic received from the catering hall that we were supposed to have our reception at.
I'd like to see it.
And also up here, this is our joint bank account number. And on that check, the bank account number on the check doesn't match our joint account number.
And also...
Shh. Did you receive back $3,200 from the catering hall when the wedding was canceled?
I did. It came back in my name because the original deposit was made by my mother's debit card.
I don't care. It was made by whose debit card? Did you give him half?
No.
Well, you have to.
You're...
Quiet. So far, you're not losing. So far, you're not losing. I mean, why do you think you're entitled to keep this money?
Because in the joint bank account that we had, neither of the two plaintiffs actually contributed any money themselves.
I don't understand what you mean.
His father gave us the check for the $5,000 that was deposited. It was not from Michael or Deborah Ramo.
Well, then the father can take it up with them. Is that your defense? You're ridiculous. I couldn't figure out what your defense was to start with. I actually read your defense very carefully, and I said, what is this girl? Nuts?
It was claimed that the wedding center package that we have was supposed to be refunded. I have the contract here that says it was non-refundable. We didn't get that money back. I have that here.
Now, listen to me. What is this check?
That's the check from the catering hall. The initial $1,200 that we contributed to that, like I said, was from my mother's account. The $2,000.
He gets back half of this.
The $2,000 second
He's
payment.
going to get back half. Madam, hey.
I'm not talking.
Now you can sit, because you don't know how to keep your mouth shut. He's a big boy. He knows how to speak. You're old enough to get married. You know how to speak. Tell her to be quiet.
Yes, Your Honor.
$1,600 so far. What else?
Actually, with that check, when I would ask her about where's the check, she said, I'm working on it, leave me alone.
Listen to me. Is this supposed to be important to me now? I have other things to do today. I already gave you half the check.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
What do you want to tell me? You want to tell me she's not a good person?
I can tell you a lot of stories that she's
I don't care.
Okay.
That's something you tell somebody else.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go tell that to a therapist.
Yes.
Tell it to Dr. Drew, not to me.
Yes, Your Honor.
I now have $1,600 for you.
Yes, this is the check that was written from my father to Mrs. Slavic, because when we booked the catering hall, Mrs. Slavic put a first deposit of $1,200 on her credit card, and to split expenses, my father wrote a $600 check to Mrs. Slavic.
You're just getting back $1,600. That covers it.
I know, but this is an extra $600 check.
Listen, let's go. What else?
There's also a matter of $2,000 from the remaining $5,000 in our account. I'm responsible for $1,000, and Ms. Slavic is responsible for $1,000.
After all of the wedding expenses were paid, there was still $2,000 left in the account.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who closed the account?
Ms. Slavic.
Did you
He
closed
the account?
No, Your
Show
Honor,
me.
that's not
Show
true.
me.
He closed the account back in, I believe it was March. I don't have the email, but he sent me an email to say that he went to the bank, closed the account himself.
Your Honor.
And I do have the following.
Then let me put it to you this way. He may have closed the account. Who took out the money?
There was no money left at the end of the account.
$2,000. Where is it?
We spent the money in the year and a half that we were engaged for, and I have all of the bank statements with highlighted transactions that me and him made on vacations and movies and dinners and
Your
spending
Honor.
that $2,000.
$1,000 goes to you, sir. That's $2,600. What's next?
Your Honor, also with that account, Ms. Slavic was putting her own personal...
Listen to me. I've just given you $1,000.
But he spent that money
I've just
too.
given you $1,000. That's what you asked for. I'm getting the picture. Did you buy an engagement ring?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Where is it?
She still has it, Your Honor.
And I offered to give it back, and he said no.
Well, that was very nice of him to say keep it, because it was a gift made in contemplation of getting married. That's what an engagement ring is. Wedding didn't take place. He should get back the ring. Doesn't sound like a bad guy to me. Keep going. What else? $2,600. Let's go. I have other things to do today.
I'm sure you're very busy, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Michael Ramos says ex-fiancée Jennifer Slavic owes for the return of money they put away for a wedding that never happened.
Okay, go ahead.
There's also the matter of the wedding center. We together put it down $1,000 on a wedding center package.
What's a wedding center package?
The wedding center is a company in Comac, New York that specializes in all-inclusive items towards a wedding, which is a photographer.
Music, flowers,
yes.
Linens. Okay. You each put in?
Oh, no, we didn't. We, from our joint account, we put in $1,000. And what had happened was that yes?
Any of that money back?
It's non-refundable. It's right in the contract.
Well, that's what you also said about this, but you got the money back.
It's written right here in the
know,
contract.
That's not my question. My question was, did you get any money back from the wedding center? No. Do you have any proof that she got money back from the wedding center?
I have 2 vouchers, one for me and one for her, Your Honor.
What does that mean?
The wedding center gave us each a $450 voucher, which adds up to $900, but they took $100 off because they gave Miss Slavic a vacation voucher, and I don't know if she ever returned it, and I don't know if she ever used it, Your Honor.
Just a second. So you got a voucher towards another wedding?
Towards a honeymoon, technically.
Something else?
Right.
Yes.
Right, so you got $450 out of $500.
Yes.
I'm not interested. Don't waste my time. I'm a big girl. I went through 17 years of postgraduate education. Keep going.
That about covers it.
Great, $2,600. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. So.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We went out to dinner, took me out to dinner, and then said he doesn't want to get married.
I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not happy in this relationship. I'm not happy with the way she treats me.
Unfortunately, I guess he couldn't handle being with a strong female.
She just wasn't a very nice person towards me.
Folks, have a seat.
Miss Nichols, this case generally has to do with an automobile. This is your ex-boyfriend, and for whatever reason, which is not important to get into right now, you wanted to purchase a car, according to your complaint. You had the down payment, and you were prepared to make the payments on the car. For some reason, perhaps because of credit or whatever else it was, the car was placed in Mr. Brown's name. Is there a loan on the car?
Yes.
And the loan is also in your name?
Yes, it is.
Well, now you are no longer a couple. And when you broke up, it was an unpleasant evening that caused the breakup, and you acknowledged the fact, Miss Nichols, that you were very drunk that night.
Yes.
Mr. Brown decided to take the car, and you want either the car back or you want him to pay you what you've put into it.
No. I either want the car back or the money back.
What money?
The money I put into the car.
Well, that's what I just said, if you were paying attention.
Okay.
On what evening, Mr. Brown, did you take the car? Do you remember the date?
June 7th, 12:30 in the morning.
How drunk were you, Miss Nichols?
I had a blackout.
Where had you been?
I had been at a nightclub called The Fleet.
How did you get there?
I drove.
In
the
your car?
I drove the car.
How did you get back?
I got back in the car.
Who drove?
Miss Charlotte drove.
Mm-hmm. So let me say this to you. If you want the car back from Mr. Brown, you're going to have to get the loan in your name, and you are going to have to get the car out of his name.
Okay.
That is going to be my ruling, and I'm going to explain clearly why to you. Doesn't have to be responsible for your drunk driving. He is responsible for your drunk driving if you're driving in a car that he owns. He risks his property, he risks his credit, he risks his own car, he risks whatever income he may have. If, Miss Nichols, you get into an accident and hurt someone in that car. Now, it is also clear, I want you to pay careful attention to this. When you purchase a car and you drive it off the lot, it loses value. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that it loses value. It could lose 10%, 20%, 30% or more. So the fact that you put in a down payment
and was paying the payments
and was
on
making the payments on it every month. Just pay attention. And was making payments on it doesn't mean the car is valued the same way as it was when you purchased it. Now, this was not Mr. Brown's car. This was your car.
Yes, I drove it every day.
Just listen. He doesn't want this car. He just doesn't want you to have it in his name. So far, am I right, Mr. Brown?
Correct.
So if you want the car, you have to get the loan on the car in your name. When you do that, Mr. Brown will be more than happy to turn over the car.
There wasn't a loan on the car.
Well, how could you tell me that there were no payments on the car if you were making payments, according to you, every month on the car?
Can I explain something? Can I go back? I paid the down payment on the car, and I've been making the payments ever since. He took a loan out on the truck for bills.
I did. You see, I did.
But I've been paying the payments on the loan. I have bank statements.
I don't care. That's what has to happen. How much was the car that you purchased?
The car was $34,000.
Well, as soon as you get $34,000 out of his name, you can have it back. Otherwise, you can't have it back. He's not taking on your responsibility to be.
So I don't get the money back that I paid on the car?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. You don't get the money back because the car has depreciated. And what happens is, if he is forced to sell the car, he's going to lose money. And the only one who's going to be whole is you, which means you get the money back that you put down as a down payment, the $1,800 in your payments, right? You get that back. He's out the money that if he's going to sell the car, because the car's not worth what it was when you purchased it. And the only one who's going to end up whole is you, and that's because of your bad behavior. Because your bad behavior by having a blackout and driving drunk on June 7th caused this whole debacle.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, then great, Miss Nichols. So this is what you have to do. Get yourself a loan, and you can have the car back, and you have 30 days to do it. Will you hold on to the car for 30 days?
That's why I'm making the payments. It's my car.
Just a second. It's not going to be your car if she gets the loan in her name within 30 days. Do you understand?
I understand that.
Great. Because it was always intended to be her car. She put down the down payment on the car.
She didn't put down the down payment.
Listen to me carefully.
Judge Judy, can I say something?
Bottom line. He's not giving you a car if you drove drunk, so that he is responsible. Period. End of discussion. Listen! I don't want to hear you. Somebody who has a blackout at a club from drinking
and she didn't
shouldn't
drive
be
her
driving.
Home.
What?
She didn't drive her home. She drove home herself.
I don't care. She shouldn't be driving a car if she has blackouts.
You was in the bed.
Mr. Brown, hey. Okay, so let's deal with the second thing. That deals with your car. You claim you lent him money to make a truck payment. Tell me about it. When?
He took a loan out on his truck, and I've been paying the loan for the truck ever since he took the loan out.
So you saying I ain't helped you do nothing?
You didn't help me.
Just a second. You say it was a loan to him. How many payments did you make on the truck for him?
On the loan that he took out for the truck, it was 3.
And why did you make 3 payments on his truck loan for him?
Because he told me he was going to pay me back.
And did he pay you back after the first one?
No.
Did he pay you back after the second one?
No, he told me he was going to pay me back in the future when he got back on his feet because he's paying child support.
Just a second. So what he told you was, Miss Nichols, that he was going to pay you back when he got back on his feet. Are you back on your feet?
I've been on my feet. What do you mean back on my feet? I've been working for the last 4 years.
Well, I want to know what you thought he meant when you said pay you back when he's back on his feet.
Because he pays child support, and they're taking more money out of his check right now.
Is that
he switches his taxes around every now and then to get more money out of his check.
How long were the two of you together, Miss Nichols?
3 years.
3 years. And how long did you live together?
3 years.
And how long ago did you make these 3 payments for him on his truck?
The payments started in February.
February of what year?
No, I'm sorry, in March.
March of what year?
Of this year.
So you made a payment in March, April, and May?
Yes.
Show me. You have the truck, Mr. Brown?
Yes, I do.
She make payments for you in March, April, and May?
I made payments. We both. It's in her bank statements. That's the only reason why she got bank statements, because I gave her money, and we went to the bank on Saturdays, and she put it in there and deposited it, and then paid it.
Just a second. Is what you're telling me that there were bills paid out of her account?
Out of her account.
But you gave her money?
I gave her money.
Okay.
We would go to the bank on Saturday mornings and pay the car note. I was giving her $250. She was giving $200. She'd take it in the bank, go in there, we go back home, I call it in.
You did not have a bank account?
I did not have a bank account. Paid $900 a month child support.
Well, what does that have to do with not having a bank account?
Well, it's like I owe my rears, so if I try to save money...
They take it right out, they drain your bank account.
And they drain it, and she understood that, and she...
So just a second, so you were giving her money?
Yes.
Okay. What's next, Miss Nichols?
Next is mental anguish.
Yours or mine? Your case is over. It's dismissed. Now, we're ready to deal with the counterclaim. Now, Mr. Brown, it is your claim that while she was having a blackout, she bit you.
Yes, she did.
And you were injured, and you have medical bills.
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at the medical records, please, and the photographs. And this was on June 7th.
I was injured, too, and I had bruises, too.
And this was on June 7th.
June 7th. Yes,
I would like to see them, please.
My medical records.
I know she got it backwards. Miss Judy, I don't have a loan on the car. I bought the car. There's not a loan on there.
Then what were you making payments on?
On the payments for the car.
That's a loan.
It's a it was...
Just a second. Did you buy a $34,000 car? Take your hand off your hip. I'm asking you a question. Did you buy a $34,000 car?
Yes, I bought the car.
Good.
We were going to put the car in my name.
According to your
we were going to put the car in my name.
According to your,
we went upstairs.
Your case is dismissed. Now, let's get to your counterclaim. Tell me what happened on the night of June 7th.
On the night of June 6th, actually, it was on the night of June 6th. It was a Wednesday.
Okay.
I was
Put
in
it
a
outside. This one.
I don't care about going outside. I'll do better.
And the other door.
Which one? This
That
one?
one there.
Fine with me.
Go ahead.
It was the night of Wednesday, June 6th. I was in the bed asleep about 11:30. Miss Nichols came in, animated. For no reason, I have no deal.
Because you was trying to get some sex, you know. Stop
Okay.
lying.
Well, whatever.
You was trying to get some sex. Stop lying.
So she came in.
And I wouldn't give it to you.
Would you
All
put her
right,
out,
that's all
please?
fine and that's
Sure.
all fine and
Put her out.
dandy.
I'm done with her.
Ma'am.
You stay, Mr. Brown.
Anyway.
Don't speak. You want to go? You can go.
Come on, Cheryl. Let's get out of here.
You can go if you want to.
You might as well go. Don't look stupid already.
Well, I have to get up first, don't I?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The car.
Friend Alton Brown owes for a car, unpaid loans, and rent. Alton is countersuing for medical bills and pain and suffering as the result of Bridget biting him.
Go ahead.
Okay, it was the night of Wednesday, June 6th. I was asleep at 11:30. She came home animated about something, and she kept talking about my sister. I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Right? So I got up out the bed. I stood up. We was face to face, and then all of a sudden she just spit in my face, just like, phew. And I'm like, whoa. So I grabbed her by her arms, and that's when she lunged for the top of my shoulder. And I still had her because my adrenaline rushing at the time. I just got woke up. Once I felt the bite, I threw her on the bed. I got her on the bed, and I'm just like, talk to me. What's wrong? You know what I mean? Talk to me. So she's still trying to swing from my face and everything. So I got from around her shoulders and I grabbed both of her arms, you know, trying to pin her down so she wouldn't hit me. So when I did that, that's when she reached for my forearm.
Can I see the bill?
The bill for what?
You said you had $1,088 in medical bills.
That was pain and suffering.
All I want to see, sir, is a medical bill.
I don't have it. I went to urgent care. I don't have no medical.
Goodbye.
All right.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was trying to get some sex.
She talking about sex and all that.
And I didn't want to give it to him.
Spit in my face, like I said, she don't remember nothing.
He had bruises, I had bruises.
He could try to paint the picture the way she wanted, but
He just was a whip and went to the doctor and got some
I can be weak or whatever she want to call me. At
A&D ointment put on it
the end of the day, I'm still a man, and
and got sent home.
you're not about to put your hands on me, so.
I didn't go whip.
You know, she just bitter,
And no more boyfriends, please.
and upset that she ain't.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pantsner versus Shell. Step forward.
26-year-old Christopher Pantsner is suing his ex-girlfriend, 25-year-old Heather Shell, for a series of unpaid loans during the time they dated.
Mr. Pantsner, let me see if I understand your position.
Mm-hmm.
You moved into a home with the defendant, and you were a couple.
Correct.
When you moved into the home, initially you were going to share the expenses of the home, but the defendant did not have funds.
Correct.
So, according to you, you agreed to advance the funds for living for both of you.
Correct.
And with the understanding that when the defendant was able to, she would pay you back the money that you had advanced.
That's correct.
At some point, the relationship went south, and I think she told you to leave.
Correct.
And when was that, sir?
She told me to leave early January.
And you said to her, I'll leave, but I want my money.
Yeah, I would like to be paid back for the money lent to you.
How long had you been paying the expenses?
I paid for 2 months.
How much?
Roughly.
What did you pay? Not roughly.
SDG&E.
What is that?
San Diego Gas and Electric.
For the house?
For the house previous to me staying at the residence, yes.
And how much was that?
I believe it was $700 for Verizon Wireless. It was about $340 for SDG&E. I also paid a card payment that she needed that she was behind on.
Okay. What else?
A few different things I wrote down.
Well, I'm listening, sir. That's
right.
why we're here. We're not here for me to comment on your tie. Go ahead.
The payment for First Savings Bank.
How much was that?
$342.06.
What was that?
I believe it was to pay off an existing credit card that was maxed out that she had.
Was that for your credit card? Yes. Go ahead.
Next, I actually paid a $50 Capital One payment towards her other credit card, and that was on top of the $1,250 for the first month's rent.
Well, was that for your share of the rent and the rest of
That
it?
was the entire rent for both of us, and she was agreeing after I moved in that since I moved in to save her from being evicted, that I would only have to pay. I told her she'd only have to pay me back half because split the
Well,
rent
so
down
what's
the
the
middle.
half of that?
Half of it is around.
Not around. We're in court today,
it's
sir.
$650. It's $660.
Okay, so how much did you pay on her behalf for rent?
I paid $770 on my behalf, and then it was another $500 and I think about $550.
So he paid for your rent for that first month, as well as his own, because you had no money.
Correct.
All right, fine. Go ahead.
I lent her $223.42 for sports equipment because we actually went on a pretty lavish vacation from December 6th to the 9th at Mammoth Mountain.
Not interested. Keep going.
Okay. I actually paid $200 to keep her cats alive.
Well, tell me about that.
She put Dog Advantage on a cat, which basically would kill the cat because it's a weight-oriented medicine. So they had to rush it down to the hospital, get it fixed. They didn't have the money to do that, so I was like,
Who's
"Here."
they?
Tommy and Heather rushed down to the hospital, and they paid for it initially, and they said they didn't have the money to cover it, so I was like, cool, I'll cover the $200 to keep your cat alive.
Keep going.
Next, there was the rent that I paid $970 the second month, which was...
You paid $970.
I paid $970 second month.
Just a second. $970 in total. You paid $970.
I paid $970 in total.
In total, and you were supposed to pay $770.
Correct.
So what was the other $200?
Because she was short and she needed it.
Okay, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
The $200.
No.
Keep going.
Next, I paid off a court fine of hers to the San Diego Superior Court to the tune of $395.
What was that for?
It was for
What was that for?
I have no idea. I don't know what he's talking about.
She said she didn't get a ticket. Do you have a copy of it?
Of the bank statement or the ticket
No,
itself?
does the bank statement have her name on the ticket?
It doesn't. It just says the San Diego Superior
Can't
Court.
help you. What's next?
Basically, midway through...
No, basically. I don't want to hear basically. I said, what's next?
What's next? I covered $234.75 for Stater Brother groceries on top of the money I've already paid.
Listen to me, sir. You know I have 9 years of postgraduate work.
I didn't know that, but I respect that.
So far, according to the reasonable things that you've suggested and the things that she actually agrees that she owes you for, $2,032. Now, I read your complaint and I see that there was some sort of a to-do between the two of you, but at some point the defendant signed a promissory note. Is that correct?
This is correct.
I'd like to see it, please. So you signed a promissory note. You said you owed him $2,940 for rent.
Your Honor, he forced me to sign that. What happened was I was sent home. I actually was at work, and I went home because he said he was going to start taking my things out of my house to pay him back for things that he had already gave me. And I said, what are you talking about? And I rushed home.
Listen to me. I read your answer. Your answer said that you had a disagreement with him, and you called the police.
Right.
The police arrived.
Correct.
It was after the police arrived that this note was signed.
No.
Do you have a copy of the police report?
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
Here's the incident report.
Did you tell the police when they arrived that he forced you to sign a note?
Yes, ma'am.
Show me.
This is the police
Show me.
report. It's an incident report. They
Show
didn't,
me.
We actually figured out a way to calm things down. I talked
How
to
did you
him.
figure out a way to calm things down?
I called the cops right after.
No, how did you figure out, now the police are there, how did you figure out
Your
how
Honor,
to calm things down?
This is what happened. I came home. He was off. He had this letter. He's like, sign this letter. Sign this letter now. He held me down, made me sign it.
Listen to me, madam. Police arrived.
After the police arrived.
Police arrived. Listen to me. How did you figure out when the police were there how to, your words, calm things down?
It was prior to the police coming.
How did you figure out after the police arrived how to calm things down, is my question to you.
They were already calm when the police came in.
Fine. Then did you say to the police, make him give me back this note that he forced me to sign?
No, because I signed it under duress and I
Judgment
didn't
for
think
the
that it was an
plaintiff
issue.
in the amount of $2,900. Thank you very much. That's all.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
Yeah, we were in a great relationship. He tried to buy my love.
Probably started falling apart
He's crazy.
towards the end part
He wanted to like be my boyfriend
when they figured out that I was going to stop
and also my owner,
taking all the crap.
and wanted to have jurisdiction over everything that I did,
I think that's kind of funny because
and what I did, and who I talked to, and where I went,
she did what she wanted regardless of what I said.
the clothes I wore.
So it's kind of, yeah.
Don't date crazies,
I'll have to choose more wisely next time.
and stay true to the ones that you love.
Seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Gonzalez, this is your sister, and according to your complaint, you've been taking care of one of her children, who is now a teenager, for a good deal of his minority. You did so without any support from your sister. You found out subsequently that she was, in fact, receiving for at least part of that time child support for her son, and also you allege that she was receiving public assistance for her son, none of which she shared with you. So your lawsuit wants that money. Now, who are you?
Joshua Blue Williams.
How are you related to this case?
He's my boyfriend.
Does he have any information with regard to this case?
He's been with me for 4 years, so he knows that I pay my son's cell phone bill, giving him money.
So he really has no connection to this case. Okay. For how long has your son been living in your sister's home?
Since September, October of last year.
And prior to that, where was he living?
Actually with a friend of his.
For how long?
For about 3 or 4 months.
Prior to that 3 or 4 months, where was he living?
With all of us.
You all lived together?
Correct.
For how long?
About 3 months.
Let's remove the few months when he was living with a friend or when he was living with you as a group, a few months. How long has your son, because I'm going to ask him the same question, how long has your son been living with your sister?
There was 1 year that he was with her for foster care. Other than that, I'm not quite sure. It's been on and off. But I also would live with her as well.
You mean when he was living with her, sometimes you would come there to live as well?
Correct.
Well, that doesn't mean he was living with you. That just means she was probably taking care of all of you.
No. We all took care of each other, I suppose.
No, I don't suppose that. If your son is living with his aunt and you flop in for a couple of months and then flop out, that doesn't mean that you're taking care of him.
No, we would move in there together. Like, me and my son and my daughter would move in, and my mother would move in with Amanda, but it was never that I was in and out of his life.
Just stand up, please, young man. Tell me your name.
My name is Trevor Friedman.
Trevor, how long have you been living with your aunt?
I'd say 14 out of my 17 years.
And how many years would you say you lived with your mother?
2, 3.
Is your sister an older sister or a younger sister?
She's younger.
Who does she live with?
She lives with her big sister program.
How long has she not been living with your mother?
8 to 10 months, maybe.
Prior to that, where was she living?
With me and my aunt.
Did she have a behavior problem? Is that why she's living with big sisters?
No, I'm not exactly sure why she's there.
Okay. But prior to that, she wasn't living with your mother either?
That was when my mother was in the house with us.
Do you know why your mother left?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Do you see your father?
Every now and again.
But not regularly?
No, it's been more regularly recently than ever.
And your dad sends child support, is that right?
To my mother, yes.
Do you know how long he's been sending child support to your mother?
Since December of 2010.
Do you know how much?
Not exactly, but $1,000.
You mean altogether?
Yes.
How much do you receive from Trevor's father for child support?
$186 a month.
When did that start?
February or March of 2011.
Did you tell your sister that you had been receiving money for Trevor?
At some point, yes, I did.
Why didn't you send her the money?
I didn't feel she needed it. I didn't feel she wasn't taking care of him. I don't get where he says that he lived with her for 14 years out of the 17 years that he's been alive. He lived with me, or me and my mom.
You have a drug problem?
No.
Do you work?
No, I'm disabled.
What's the nature of your disability?
I have degenerative disc disease, fibromyalgia, and diabetes.
When was the last time you were employed on a full-time basis?
2005, 2006, something like that.
How much do you receive in disability?
I don't receive anything.
So that you're not legally disabled?
I've been fighting for SSI.
So you are not legally disabled. Who supports you?
My boyfriend. Or the child support that I was using.
Well, you can't use the child support, Ms. Porter. Child support is not for you. There's a difference between child support and spousal maintenance, or any kind of maintenance.
I was just trying to get on my feet.
Well, I understand that you were trying to get on your feet, but you created 2 children. And this young man seems like a very nice young man, and there is certainly stability in his life, and my sense is that the stability does not come from you. The stability comes from the rest of his maternal family, either your sister or your sister and his grandmother. But that doesn't mean that you can take money that is not meant for you and use it to get on your feet. You can't do that. It's unreasonable. Your responsibility is when you bring a child into the world, you're supposed to take care of that child.
I was.
Not according to him.
I paid his cell phone bill for over 2 years. If he asked for money and I had it, I would give it to him.
That's not support. That's what fathers used to say to me when I would say to them, do you pay child support regularly? And they say, yeah, whenever she needs something. I buy diapers, I'll buy formula. I say, that's not support. Support is when you provide for a piece of the roof over their head, the electricity, the water, the power, the clothes.
And I did do that.
But not according to your sister. And not according to you when you said to me that this has been your boyfriend for 4 years. That's why you brought him, because he can testify that you paid for his phone bill. You know, a phone bill is a luxury. A roof over your head is not a luxury. What? When you want to talk to me, you can stand up.
The reason I probably came was to testify that Trevor wasn't supposed to be with Amanda. The things that go on in that house, I don't think any adult would approve of.
Let me tell you something, sir. That may be very, very true. And if that's the case, then he should be living with his mother.
I agree.
Do you understand? There's a reason he's not living with his mother.
I want him to be
know that there's a reason he's not living with his mother. And there's a reason that his younger sister's not living with his mother. So someone must have determined that his aunt's house was a more appropriate house than his mother's house.
He did.
Who's he?
Trevor.
How about a judge? Did a judge determine that your daughter shouldn't be living with you?
No.
then you think that your daughter should be living with you.
She will be.
Not will be. Now, this minute, yesterday, the week before. Do you understand? Courts sometimes have a very hard time. They're not faced with a situation where they have a great home and a terrible home. They may have two homes that are marginal. They may have to make a judgment. What's the best possible alternative? It usually is with a parent, because that's what the law is in this country. You know, absent some overriding reason, children live with their parents. In this case, it's been determined, or a court or somebody, that her children shouldn't live with her.
I think basically her sister's harboring a runaway.
Harboring a runaway. And what about the sister?
The sister is with a big sister program, so she could be in a better school while we were moving.
Oh, no. That's a lot of baloney. Parents don't put their children in a facility so that they can finish school while their parents move. I know a lot of parents. I've been a parent myself. You don't do that. Either you wait to finish the school year, because she's not working, right? Not working. And what do?
I'm a software engineer for the financial sector.
Do you work in a particular location?
Well, I'm a consultant, so I work in many particular locations.
So you can live anywhere. So there's no reason to move outside of a school district. Her daughter wanted to finish school living in a school district, then you could live anywhere, right? She's not working. You can work out of any place. Now you can sit down.
Thank you.
And understand that I got it. You owe your sister $2,700 for the money that you've been getting for support. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have tried to be there for my son.
I wish it wasn't this way, and I wish it didn't have to come to this.
My son has chose not to be with me.
But she's the one who pushed it into having it have to come to this.
We don't have a good relationship.
I hope that she'll change her life around and actually become a mother.
Due to my sister.
Nishera Garrett is suing her former friend, Michael Kodia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, for a personal loan, car damages, and an assault.
Court, come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2056, Garrett versus Kodio scenario.
Thank you. Miss Garrett, this gentleman, Michael Kodia, is that
correct?
Kodia?
Yes.
You and Mr. Kodia have been lifelong friends, according to what I read in the complaint. Lifelong, you're both very young. How do you know him?
Well, we used to ride bikes together. His mom used to also braid my hair when I was a child every Sunday.
But you and Mr. Kodia were never involved in any relationship other than just friendship?
No.
And Mr. Kodia, Miss Serrano is currently your girlfriend?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
She had been your girlfriend and been living with you for a while, and you have a child together?
Yes, correct. Well, she's currently pregnant. We're expecting, they're expecting.
Great. You had a fight with Miss Serrano, and that was around June of this year?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was a substantial enough fight that Miss Serrano left the home, and she left the home with your child. And how old is your child?
As I was saying, we are expecting.
So you don't have a child together?
She's 6 months pregnant, though, currently.
Okay. So you're just living, and she left?
Correct.
At about the same time, Miss Garrett, your friend, needed a place to stay.
I wouldn't say needed a place to stay, but...
What would you say?
It was more like, I kind of had a clue, like she had a place to stay, but it was just one of those situations.
No, look over here. Look over here. Okay.
Sorry.
Now, Mr. Kodia, I want you to understand there are very few stories that are new under the sun. I want you to really understand that. I have children. I have grown grandchildren, boys and girls. I've seen all the movies that I want to see about romance and guys. So your girlfriend leaves you.
Yes.
Yes. And would it be fair to say that you invite Miss Garrett to come and stay with you?
Yes, it would be fair.
Had you ever invited her to come and stay with you before?
No, I have not. Not in the current apartment that I'm staying in right now, no.
Had you in another apartment?
No.
So the answer is you had never invited your friend to come and stay with you before?
No.
Interesting. So on June 27th, she left. On what date did you invite Miss Garrett to come and stay in your apartment?
June 16th.
June 16th?
Yes.
So 11 days before Miss Serrano left?
Miss Serrano left about a week prior to her coming.
What date did you leave, Miss Serrano? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I recall it was the end of, or mid-June of this year, I would say. I had personal things going on, so I really wasn't you know.
Now, Ms. Serrano, I'm going to ask you why you left.
We had a falling out. Me and Michael had a falling out.
Yes. What did you and Michael have a falling out about?
Well, at the time, my mother was in the hospital, so that it was a disagreement surrounding having to move back home and take care of her in the household.
And
that was pretty much it.
Well, what did he say? He said he didn't want you to, and you...
Yeah, he pretty much, long story short, didn't want me to move back to my mother's house, so that caused, you know...
Okay, so he wanted you to stay?
Yes. Yes, he wanted me to stay, but, you know...
He wanted you to stay. Now, did you know that the two of you were expecting at that time in June?
Yes.
So he knew that you were expecting a baby, that you wanted to go back to your mother's house because she was ill and you wanted to help take care of her. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And despite the fact that he said, don't go, you left?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it would be fair to say that he was annoyed?
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting this whole picture now. It's so easy. Okay. And about a week later, he invites this attractive young lady who's been a friend of his for a long time, a non-romantic friend, to move into the apartment.
Yes.
You know that that was nasty, right?
Oh, no, yes, I know.
You know that was nasty.
That was an agreement between them.
No.
And, you know.
But you know that that was a sort of a nasty thing to do.
Oh, no, I'm fully aware. Yes, yes ma'am. Yes.
I just want you to know what you're sort of dealing with.
Yes,
you know.
I'm fully aware of what I'm dealing with. Thank you, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so, Mr. Codia, in order to sort of get even a little bit, you invite Miss Garrett to come and move in. No rent or anything, because you didn't have an agreement to pay rent. You weren't going to pay rent or anything, and you moved in. And you moved in on?
I moved in on the 1st.
On the 1st of?
July.
July 1st. Now, Miss Serrano, I'm going to come back to you because this is such a fascinating story.
Oh,
such a fascinating story. And he deserves to get dumped on a little bit.
Oh, there's more where that came from, yes. I said that's more where that came from, yes.
Okay, and between the time you left and July 1st, when Miss Garrett was invited to come to stay at the house, were you in communication with Mr. Codia?
Yes, I would say like every day or every other day. We spoke, you know, arguments, you know how it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, first of all, you're pregnant and you have emotions, and then you're taking care of family members and whatever. And so I got it. Did he tell you that Miss Garrett was moving in?
Yes.
When?
I would say I found out around like the 27th, 28th.
Of June?
Yes.
Tell me how you found out that she was moving in.
I believe at that point she was already moved in at that point.
Okay. And what made you think that?
Just based off of how the conversation went or how he told me.
Tell me what he told you.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean.
See what's happening to him? This fly is getting vengeance on him.
Not getting on the food.
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper too, wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here.
Yes.
Nashira Garrett claims her former friend, Michael Codia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, owe for a personal loan and an assault.
Tell me what he told you. I'm curious. I want to know.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean. That's what I was told.
Okay, did he tell you who?
Who it was. I never met her.
But he told you who it was?
Yes, he told me who it was.
And that made you, I would probably guess, a little annoyed and unhappy.
I mean, I was annoyed.
I would be annoyed.
I mean, I was annoyed because I had personal things going on, but in between that time before actually realizing that she was living at my apartment, I actually had a brief interaction with her. I met her at a park. I met her. So...
Between the time you moved out?
Yes.
Okay. Was it you met because you contacted each other, or you met by accident?
We met because me and Michael just, you know, had a conversation to have had at that point in time. I'm assuming she was there in the area, so he just wanted to kill two birds with one stone. He said, do you want to meet the person, you know, who's there, who I'm living with, and that's how it went.
And was it a cordial meeting?
Yes, it was.
You met her, she met you?
Yes.
And he said, I just want you to meet the lovely-looking girl that I'm now living with because you went home to take care of your mother.
I guess so, if you want to put it...
Yes, he...
Don't forget.
This is what your case is about. First, you claim that you loaned Mr. Codia $750 for rent.
Yes.
And you did that because he said once Miss Serrano moved out, she wasn't paying her rent. He was short on rent. That's what I read here. Mr. Codia has a whole different story. He said while he told you that he was a little short on rent and he was going to have to get a third job.
That's not true.
Just a second. You jumped in and offered to give him $750. That's what you wrote here. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Codia, did you tell Miss Serrano that somebody was moving into the apartment just to cook and clean? That's what she says.
Yes, that's exactly my words. Exactly my words, yeah.
That's exactly what you told her.
Correct.
You didn't tell Miss Serrano, the soon-to-be mother of your child, that you had a roommate who was paying rent.
I did not.
Miss Serrano, what kind of work were you doing when you were living together in June?
I had a work-from-home position, will still currently do as a Medicaid specialist.
Were you sharing rent with him?
Yes. Everything was 50-50.
Did you pay him any rent in July?
No, I did not.
Did you pay him rent in June?
Yes.
So you paid him the $750. That was your share of the rent? Is that what your share was?
That was my share of the rent. June was already paid for. July I did not pay because I did not believe I was going to be there.
Okay. Tell me what he said to you that caused you to give him this $750.
Well, he texted me one morning and said that Brianna was no longer going to pay her half of the rent as of July, and that if he could...
You were living there already?
Yes, and if I give him $750, he would give it back to me. And we never discussed anything about me cooking or cleaning. I actually brought groceries, which he said that he would pay me back for, too, while I'm staying there.
Okay, so you were actually there for 5 days, is that right?
About 5 days.
5, 6 days. And at some point around the first week in July, July 5th, 6th, or 7th, you came to the apartment.
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
We had went inside the apartment.
Who's we?
Michael and I, sorry. Michael
so
and
you
I
were
went...
so you weren't staying there. Where had you met him?
We actually met at work. We've been together for a year and a half.
I understand that. Yeah. But you came home to the apartment together, and that was, I think, on the 7th of July.
Yes.
On the 7th of July. Where had you been? You'd been out. You hadn't been staying in the apartment.
Oh, no, yeah. I was out actually just going to rosaries and stuff like that. I actually went to go pick him up after a family function from work. After picking him up from work, we went back to the apartment, went upstairs.
Was that the first time you had been back to the apartment?
No.
Since you left?
Since I left, I've been there on and off. Like, not on and off, but like every other couple days. But I've been there, not living there, but I've been there spending the night and, you know.
Have you ever, when you were there, have you seen Miss Garrett?
Nope, but I've seen her belongings, though.
Okay. But you knew she was there because he told you that she was there.
Exactly.
So on the 7th, you picked him up, you went back to the apartment, and you'd been there before, but you had never actually physically seen her in the apartment.
Correct.
Despite the fact that you knew she was there.
Correct.
Because you'd been introduced to her.
Correct.
Okay. And what happened?
So we went upstairs. She seen that I was with him, and I guess that must have made her mad.
No, just tell me what happened.
So there was an argument.
Tell me what the argument was.
I don't even know what the argument was, honestly. She just seen me, and then there was an argument that unfolded about what I still don't know still to this day.
Okay, so now Miss Garrett, they came home, and?
Okay, so them two never came in the apartment together at all that night and previously.
No, just tell me that night.
Oh, that night. So me and Michael discussed that, hey, listen, things are not working out. He has had multiple people in and out his house, and he was making me very uncomfortable, as well as Miss Serrano popping up.
So what do you say? You said multiple people in the house?
Guys, women every night. I would sleep in the park. One night I slept in the park because he had Miss Serrano popping up at 3 o'clock in the morning, her throwing my things around, telling me to get out the house. So I had to go in my car and go sleep in the park. And we had conversations that night when it happened, when she popped up. Hey, can I go sleep?
What date was that?
It was, I want to say July the 2nd or the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before the 7th.
Right.
Okay. And that's when you went out and slept in the park?
Yes.
Just a second. Mr. Cody, you remember that evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And that evening on July 2nd or 3rd, Miss Serrano was around, and they don't get along.
They do not.
Which is exactly what you anticipated.
Of course.
When you invited her to stay with you.
Sadly.
Absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Going to have 2 women fight over the prize, The grand prize. Okay. Did you take $750 from her?
No, I
did. You?
not.
Did you? I didn't ask you with loan.
Yes,
I didn't ask you. She has proof that she gave it to you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So let's not play. Did you take $750 from her?
I did.
So it goes back to her. That's $750. Now we're going to get to what she alleges is the remainder of her lawsuit, which is damages for assault. Okay. On the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes.
You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites someone, a woman, to come into the house because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that.
Nashera Garrett has accused her former friend, Michael Kodia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, of damaging her car and assaulting her.
Now, on the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes. So that evening, I went into the house, and he had his witness, Darius, there. And
this person?
Yes. And me and Michael had conversations about him before, and I just thought it wasn't a good influence. So that evening, I walk in the house, and I'm sorry, let me back that up. I asked Michael if he's gonna have men come in the house, could he please be there while I'm there with them? Because I didn't feel comfortable. He said yes. So when I walked in that evening and saw Darius there, I texted Michael and said, Michael, we need to have another talk, because every talk we have, I'm thinking that we're having understandings, but we're not. So, and Darius set up a whole twin-sized bed up in the living room, So I went out to my car. I said, Michael, when you get home, I'm in my car, so meet me in my car when you get off. It was around 8:30 when Michael had came, and I was sitting in my car. Me and Michael were talking. And
was he in your car with you?
No. He was outside of my driver's side. So that's when Miss Brianna came, and she started hitting him upside his head. And I tried to get out of the spot that I was in. And next thing I know, my window's down, and she comes and she's attacking me, punching me in my face. She keyed up my car. When she first came up to my window, she keyed my car. Yeah, I can show you.
What? Okay, did you file a police report?
I didn't.
Why?
I just didn't. I took care of my bruises and my scar. I did call 911, but then I hung up. I just didn't. And
okay. Do you have photographs of your injury?
Yes. There you go.
So what you're telling me is that this was a scratch across your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scratch that was caused by Miss Serrano.
Yes.
And that was in July.
Yes.
Ms. Serrano, I'd like to hear your version of what happened on the 7th of July.
Like I said before, there was just an argument that took place.
That wasn't. I want you to start the argument from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. She's outside in her car.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is talking to her at the car.
Oh yeah.
Did you drive over there or did you walk? How did you get there?
I parked my car like in front of the house because they were on the side street. So I walked.
So you walked there?
Exactly.
You parked the car. Now let me ask you a couple of questions, Ms. Serrano. Yeah. Did Mr. Kodia ever give you an indication that Ms. Garrett was no longer going to be living there?
Not that I could recall, no.
Well, I want you to try to recall.
I was told after that whole day went, the day after that, the conversation was going to be for her to leave the house.
Okay. And what were you coming over for? What brought you over there at 8 o'clock at night?
For him.
What do you mean for him?
Well, he left something in my car. He left a charger or something. It was something he left in my car that I was returning back to him.
Did you tell him you were coming over?
Nope. I just popped up.
The answer is no.
No.
You were curious.
Yes, I was. Of course I was.
There you were.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
See what's happening to him? This fly is getting vengeance on him.
Not getting on me, too.
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper, too? Wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here. Did you seek medical treatment?
I did not.
Mr. Kodia, I'm going to wrap up this case because I really understand it. I believe I understand it. What I don't understand is why, and this doesn't require an answer, it's sort of a rhetorical question, why you would want to take someone who had been a lifelong friend and someone with whom you are having a child and put either one or both of them in a situation they don't know each other really, so they don't know whether to like each other or whether not to like each other. I mean, I assume that at this point you would, at least Miss Serrano was planning a long-term relationship with you, and she's having a child, and I assume she thinks you're going to be there to be supportive of the child. Maybe. You have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
I have another son.
Okay, how old?
5 years old, 5.
And he lives with his mother?
Yes, he does.
So you see.
Yes. There you go.
This one's a pesky one. I'm usually good at it. I missed it before. I don't know why you would put them in a situation where they would dislike each other all to satisfy your ego.
Wow.
Oh, that's exactly what you did. You put them in a position where two apparently nice ladies, both of whom care about you in different ways, you put them, well, do you care about him?
Yes.
You think she cares about him?
I've never, the entire time I was with
They just know each other for a long time.
It was way before me, so I guess if you would have put it like that.
And they also went to senior prom together.
Just a second.
Wow, like
I didn't ask you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I didn't ask you anything. This is not a shout out. What I'm telling you is it goes to his character. He knows her for a long time. They never had a romantic relationship. With you, he's had a romantic relationship. You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites a woman to come into the house, lets you know about it, because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that. That doesn't make him a good guy. So I want you to think about that. But I absolutely believe that you caused a scratch on her, which you can't do. Anyway, Mr. Cody, you owe her $750. And Miss Serrano, you can't put your hands on anybody, no matter how angry you are at them. And I'm awarding her $1,000 for you putting your hands on her. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I was very satisfied.
I mean, I knew it would cause havoc, but
Different women every night.
I try to keep it in secret.
And that's why we stopped being friends before, but I definitely learned my lesson.
I feel like it's unfortunate. I feel like she manipulated the whole situation.
The friendship is over.
I'm just gonna be a father to my child, man.
After working with you now for almost a year, I'm starting to get so jaded from these cases that I'm starting to think that just staying single might be my best option if these are the alternatives. Yeah. Just blows my mind. He admitted to just pitting an old friend and your fiance, who's pregnant with your child, against each other.
To satisfy your ego.
Yes. Sounds like a terrible idea, was a terrible idea, turned out to be a terrible idea, and it'll land you in court on occasion.
You're right, but rethink that staying single part.
Think about
Case number 2029, McCray versus Onwaka. All parties, please step forward.
Brittany McCray is suing her former roommate, Lulu Onawaka, for a rental deposit, moving costs, and lost wages.
Miss McCray, you were looking for a room, and you rented a room in defendant's apartment. It didn't work out. You were unhappy. She was unhappy. You moved out. And now you want return of rent, deposit, moving costs, lost wages, and emotional distress. She also said, didn't work out. We didn't like each other. It just wasn't a good fit. So you were happy she left. That's either a yes or a no. You were happy she left.
No, ma'am.
You weren't happy you wanted her to stay.
No, ma'am.
Then you were happy she left.
No, ma'am. I wasn't happy she left.
Oh, let me see. Let's see. Okay, this is what you say. Brittany, that would be you.
Yes.
This is your answer. Was messy, played loud music, brought friends in unannounced, damaged the washing machine which flooded our apartment, and without consent offered to adopt someone's dog. After that, I let her know we weren't a good fit and would not be renewing her lease.
No.
Now, that's what you said.
We'll not be renewing the lease for the apartment.
No. Doesn't matter. I just read you something. I read you your answer. Now, does that sound somebody that was happy with their roommate?
I define happiness for myself. I've lived in co-living where I've had to live with people I do not like.
What?
And make it work is what I'm trying to say. So that wasn't the issue.
The damage she's referring to
was actually me attempting to change the locks on the door.
Lock
I was
on the
trying
door.
to change the lock because during my time away, all of my belongings were still in the property.
Did you damage the door?
Brittany McRae claims her former roommate, Lulu Onawaka, owes for a rental deposit, moving costs, and lost wages. Lulu is countersuing for property damage and storage fees.
Brittany was messy, played loud music, brought friends in unannounced. She damaged the washing machine, flooded the apartment, and without my consent offered to adopt someone's dog. After that, I let her know we weren't a good fit and wouldn't be renewing the lease. That's what you wrote. Do you want me to show that to you?
No, you are right, and that is what I wrote.
Absolutely. Well, then I don't know why you have a passive-aggressive attitude, because I'm the only one who's passive-aggressive. Then you were happy she left.
No.
Okay, well, you're ridiculous. Then you're a masochist. Somehow you want to live with
Probably
somebody.
I am.
You want to live with somebody who's messy, loud, floods your apartment, weren't a good fit, and yet you were happy with that. And I don't have to define happiness.
Yes.
I know that if I lived with somebody who was messy, sometimes loud,
Okay. So each his
you
own.
broke the dishwasher and flooded the apartment because they put regular soap instead of dishwashing soap into the apartment, then it sort of bubbles all over. Now, unless I was either married to that person or they were one of my family, I wouldn't be happy with them. If I had a tenant like that, I would say, oh my God, what did I get myself into? I want out of this.
Okay.
But you were happy.
No, I wasn't. I stand on that.
Okay, then you weren't happy.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I asked you. You could have saved me all this dramatics. All right, so there we go. You were living in a room.
Yes.
You paid a month's rent.
I did.
Okay, how much rent did you pay?
I paid $1,300 and a $300 deposit.
And you lived there for about a month.
I lived there for 26 days.
And things didn't work out. You had a big argument with her back and forth. And as a matter of fact, according to you, you left for a couple of days.
I did.
Yes, because you were unhappy there and felt threatened, felt uncomfortable, whatever
Very
it was.
much so.
So you left for a couple of days. And when you came back, what was your intention when you came back?
So,
No, look, not so. Look at me. You left because you were unhappy. You came back. What was your intention when you came back?
I never left because I was unhappy. I left because I was evicted from the property by the defendant.
Just a second. So you didn't leave the apartment after this disagreement?
Yes.
You did?
I did.
Okay. Where did you go?
I actually stayed with my friend.
So you left?
Yes.
On what date?
I left on June 1st.
You left the residence and stayed with your friend?
Yes.
And you stayed with your friend after the argument?
Yes.
Why?
I'm able to provide some backstory on
I don't need
the
any
encounter.
backstories. I'm just trying to get to a mindset of why the two of you think that you have a lawsuit against each other. Why do you bother wasting your own time, wasting precious court time when you weren't happy in the apartment, you paid for a month's rent. Certainly, you're entitled to your security back if you cause no damage to the apartment. You lived there practically a month, and you're not entitled to any more money because she didn't give you 30 days' notice because you were just as happy that
She had abandoned properties.
What?
She had abandoned properties.
Okay.
She damaged the door, and I lost my deposit as well because of that.
Just a second. Damaged what door?
So,
No, just not so.
Okay.
Damaged what door? That's a door.
The
An outer door, a door to her room?
Yes.
The door to her room?
Yes, she did that.
You have a photograph of the damage.
Yes,
I'd
I
like
do.
to see it.
Please bear with me. I'm going to find it quickly.
The damage she's referring to was actually me attempting to change the locks on the door. I left after I had been informed by the
Just a
defendant.
second. So you acknowledged the door was damaged while you were trying to change the lock
I
on
was
the
trying
door?
to change the lock because during my time away, all of my belongings were still in the property. Correct?
Listen to me. Did you damage the door?
No. The doorknob was removed, but the door is not damaged.
The lock was removed.
The lock was removed.
All right, I'd
so
like
that
to see.
The defendant would no longer have access to my room, to which she actually did enter my room while I was away.
Okay.
I left because the defendant actually informed me that I would need to get out by that date. After requesting a full month of rent despite me not having even lived in the property for the original month of rent that I had paid for.
I don't care. Unless she can show me the damaged door and how much it was to repair it, and I want to see how much it was to repair it.
I don't have how much it was, but here is the lease agreement, and we paid $2,900 to be here for the security deposit.
Oh, she just took this out. That's nonsense. That's nothing.
I wasn't still able to get my deposit
Nothing.
back.
The agreement
I got
that
$1,700 back.
Understand this.
Okay.
This is not damage to the door. She took out a cylinder. All you have to do is put it back. Unless you have a receipt for somebody putting it back, you get nothing.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't put
you get nothing. You get nothing.
It's a maintenance request at the property.
I didn't ask you a question. You're entitled to your $300 security back.
That wasn't the security. That was for key and cleaning, and she was aware of it.
$300 security deposit. By the way, are you allowed to sublet rooms in your apartment? That's a yes or a no?
No.
Just a, hey.
No,
hey,
no,
don't look down. Don't look down. So the answer is you are not allowed to sublet rooms in your apartment.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you are not allowed to sublet rooms in your apartment. She gets her deposit back. We're done. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
I didn't concede to her requesting me to clean out a garbage at the apartment, and at that point, she lost her entire senses and asked me to move out of the apartment. Always pick your roommates more carefully.
Okay, so I don't have anywhere to go really on this case except to suggest that people who feel good, look like they have a job, look as if life is otherwise okay for them, and they move into this rental situation, which is very difficult. I never could understand it, to move in with a stranger in an apartment and just rent a room when you don't even know whether you're compatible, whether you have similar interests, similar time schedules. I always thought that was fraught with danger, and it keeps me in business here. But here you have two women that were both unhappy. You had an unhappy tenant, an unhappy landlord. You had a lease, but both of them were unhappy. It really didn't cost either of them anything. Plaintiff says she didn't get 30 days notice, so she should be compensated for $5,000 and her moving costs and storage
fees, some other things. It seemed like a wash to me when I read the papers. And to have your happiness after the end of constant struggle or battle with each other seemed like a win to me, but apparently it wasn't enough for them.
Apparently not. Well, unfortunate. But she's entitled to her security deposit back. Yeah. She lived there for almost a month. She paid a month's rent.
Yeah.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Brian Davis is suing his former landlord, Alex Zadie, for a false arrest and bail money.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2027, Davis versus Zadie.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, a couple of years ago, you were a tenant of the defendants.
Correct, Your Honor.
You rented a room from him?
Correct, Your
in
Honor.
his house. For how long?
For about a year, a little over.
From when to when?
2020, I want to say the beginning of the year till about the end.
Do you remember the dates that he was a tenant?
Yes, they're incorrect what he's saying. It was from May of 2020 to November 2020.
Does that sound right, Mr. Davis?
Something like that, yeah.
May, June, July, August, September, October, and when in November did he leave?
I believe it was by the 10th.
This is what your case is about. Briefly, it is your claim that you and Mr. Zadie had some sort of an argument.
Correct.
Which you'll tell me about. And Mr. Zadie called the police. You were taken from the premises. You were arrested, spent the night in jail, mailed yourself out. And this happened in 2020.
Correct.
In November of 2020. Your lawsuit is for false arrest and actual damages. You had to post bail and for filing a false police report. The reason that you have delayed for 2 years in bringing this case against him is because you say you had another action pending.
Correct, Your Honor.
What was the nature of the other action that you had pending?
It was a speeding issue with the police.
Well, it's not a speeding issue with the police. Were you stopped for speeding? Were you arrested for speeding?
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
You were arrested for speeding?
Yeah. And they called it a 2800 VC, if my memory serves me correct.
Well, I don't know what that is.
It's, I guess, evading.
Look into it.
In what city and state do you live?
Irvine, California.
Let me understand this. Very few people are arrested for speeding. You remember what you were arrested for, sir? You weren't arrested for speeding.
They called it evading an officer because I didn't pull over right away.
So you were evading an officer. Let's try that, Sarah.
Evading a police officer in a vehicle. It's vehicle code 2800-1.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, what does it say?
prohibits evading an officer in a vehicle, which means willfully fleeing from a police officer when the officer is pursuing the person in a car or on a bike. The offense is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail.
Okay, so you had a misdemeanor pending, right? Anything
Correct.
else?
No, that was it.
Anything else historically?
Yes, I did have historical priors and cases and stuff from my past. Yes, I did.
Recent past or distant past?
Distant past.
How distant?
Years. I want to say 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't have to go into 2004. So you had this case pending and you felt that it was inappropriate to bring a civil case against him.
Yeah, because I didn't want the cases to intertwine, Your Honor.
They weren't going to intertwine. The case that he brought against you was eventually dismissed.
Correct.
In what month and year was it dismissed?
It was dismissed the same month, about 2 weeks after that.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay. So let me understand this. He alleged that you assaulted him or threatened him. You were taken into custody. The DA examined the case and decided not to prosecute it.
Correct.
And that was 2 years ago.
Correct.
Well, I don't know who gave you advice, sir, or whether you did this on your own, but bringing a civil case against someone for something has no impact whatsoever on a pending criminal case, be it a felony or a misdemeanor. You know, if you were driving in a car and someone hit you in the rear in November of 2020, and you waited 2 years to bring that because you had this evading a police officer action and you thought that that was a valid reason, your case would be dismissed for the hit in the rear and whatever injuries you had, because you're supposed to bring these things in a timely fashion.
I understand.
2 years is not a timely fashion. Now that I've suggested that to you, I would like to hear what you say transpired in November 2020, to the best of your recollection.
On November the 9th, 2020, me and my former landlord, Alex Adidi over here, we had an argument about a guest that I had over.
Okay. You had an argument over the phone or in person?
Over the phone.
Tell me how that phone call was initiated.
He texted me some things and I called him because I wanted to...
Okay. He texted you. Do you have a copy of that text?
No, I don't have the text.
Do you recall what that text said?
Yes, I do.
Tell me what it said.
I told him that he has to get his girlfriend out of the house because she's been coming in every day and night, staying there.
Okay. So you said, in effect, I rented you this room, not your girlfriend.
Correct.
You got to get her out of the house.
Yes.
Okay.
I had
you remember her name?
To him
just a second. You remember her name?
Not.
What was her name?
Twana.
Now, when you rented the room in May, just a second. When you rented the room in May and you moved in, did Tawana move in with you?
She did not move in with me.
So when you rented the room for yourself in May, you rented the room as a single person?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And when did you bring Tawana into the room?
It would be once in a while.
No. What month, sir?
I don't recall the exact month.
What month, sir?
It started happening like back in August, every day. It started one day, then every other day, and then it became constant day and night.
For how long?
For a long, long time, till towards the November when it just went out of proportion.
The argument was about having his girlfriend, according to you, practically living there.
Right.
And you didn't want her there?
No.
Okay, because you rented a room to a single man who, until the girlfriend started to come in, I assume you didn't have trouble with.
Right.
So that's what your text message said to him in November. And as a result of that text message, you called him on the phone. I'm just trying to lay out the story.
Okay.
So you called him on the phone and you said what to him and he said what to you?
I don't recall exactly what I said to him, but I remember he told me to tell her, get the out, get out my house, get out right now. Your girlfriend is a... He was saying a bunch of derogatory things over the phone to me and then hung up in my face. I'm working at the time. So when I came back...
Did you call your girlfriend?
No, I didn't call her.
Did you text her?
We speak regularly. We're talking all
the time.
No,
then?
Yeah, she knew about it. She did.
Don't tell me what she knew. I just asked you if you texted her or called her.
Yeah, I did.
You did. And when you texted or called her, was she in the house? Was she in your room?
No, she was gone already at this time. When we were arguing,
just a second. Is that because he told her to leave?
No, she was leaving already. She had work to go to. She wasn't living there. She had her own place and job in Lakewood, California. And I would tell him that all the time, but he would always insinuate that, oh, no, she's living there. I'm like, no, she's not. She pays $2,000 in rent.
He lives in the house with you.
Right.
Now, before Tawana, had you had any difficulty with him? You
None
moved
at
in
all.
May. May, did you have any difficulty? No.
No.
June, did you have any difficulty?
No.
July, did you have any difficulty?
No.
No. You didn't have difficulty until Tawana came.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
So he told you in a very rude way, if I accept that, to get Tawana out of his house.
Correct, Your Honor.
Then you came home from work.
Mm-hmm.
What time did you get home from work?
About 9-ish.
And Tawana was gone.
Yes, she was gone.
Had she taken her things?
There was nothing for her to take. She didn't bring stuff over there. She wasn't living there.
No, but she came over there and stayed a few days a week and never had
Maybe
any
a
stuff.
overnight bag.
Okay,
That's
but
it.
she took
Yeah.
it with her when she
Yeah,
left.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got home about 9 o'clock, and what happened?
I got home at 9 and I said, don't disrespect me and my woman. You know, this is the woman I
Okay.
love.
When you got home, you walked in the front door. Where was he?
He was in the kitchen and he had a female guest there too. That was
He's
there
allowed
for
to have a
weeks.
female guest. It's his house.
Yeah, right. The pot calling the kettle black, basically.
No,
Hypocrisy.
Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, if you rent a room to a single guy, did you have a lease agreement with him?
Yeah, I did have a lease agreement.
Did you have a written lease?
Yes, I did.
Did your written lease provide that you were going to live there?
Yes, it did.
Just you?
Yes.
Well, you bring in another person, that's in violation of the lease.
That's not in violation of the lease because there was nothing in the lease that said I couldn't have guests. He actually said I could have guests.
Guest is one thing. A guest is somebody that doesn't come with an overnight bag regularly.
No, he said
one
I
day,
could have an overnight
2
bag.
days, 3 days, 4 days.
Mm.
That's more than an occasional guest. That's somebody that comes and goes even when you're not there. Because according to you, you contacted Tawana while you were at work and she was at the house.
That's false.
Well, I thought you contacted her and then you said she left. She took a few things with her, probably just an overnight bag.
No, she was not going there when I wasn't there. That's false.
Are you saying that she was not in your room when you were not home?
When I was not there, no,
Yeah.
she would not be there.
That true?
No, he had made a key to her. She would come as she pleased.
Did you make her
That's
a key?
false. That's absolutely false.
Did you make her a key?
No, that's
is my
absolutely
question.
false. No, I
Do you
didn't make her
still
a key.
speak to Tawana?
No, I don't. We kind of fell out of touch.
If I were to call Tawana and ask her whether or not you made a key, would she tell me she did or she didn't?
She would say that I didn't.
Didn't.
Yeah.
Phone number.
I have it in my system.
I don't have her number saved here.
I'm not exactly buying the fact that Tawana did not have access to the home even when you weren't there. Even if it was just a half hour before you came home from work, sir. You work until 9 o'clock every night?
Your Honor, I had this to say about the whole key situation. I gave her my key when I was locked up in jail from his false police report. I gave her my property, and she had my key then to help me get the stuff out of his home. But I never went and made her a copy of a key
Did
anywhere.
she ever use your key other than when you were incarcerated?
No.
He says she did.
Tim Davis claims his former landlord, Alex Zadie, owes for bail money after Alex had him falsely arrested.
Okay, so now you're having this discussion. He's in the kitchen. You come home from work at 9 o'clock, and
Yeah.
you went into the kitchen to look for him.
Correct.
And when you found him, tell me what happened.
We had just a brief, maybe 2-minute conversation or argument, discourse about what the things that he said. And I said, you know, don't be disrespectful to my woman and me. And I said, you know, you're a bitch. I called him a bitch. I did. But I never threatened him,
No, you
harassed
said
him.
you're what?
That's it.
What does that mean? That's a half a sentence.
Well,
He was calling him a bitch. You are a bitch.
Oh, you were calling him?
yes, because he
a
says these
guy.
things over the phone.
He's a guy. Why would
Yeah.
you call him a...
Because he says all these things over the phone and he gets real loud and he's a
What, this is
completely different
gender-
person when he's on the
Just a
phone. But
second.
then when I'm in
you
his
think that's gender neutral?
Yeah, at this point.
Well, there you go. That's why I have you here. Okie dokie.
So
Okay, so you were called, don't call me that. You called him a name, and then things got heated, and then what happened?
no, things didn't get heated. After that, he said, "Oh, that's how you want to do it?" And then I said, "If you want to get me evicted, you have to go through it the right way and do it legally and give me a 30-day eviction."
No, he must have said to you, I want you out of here because you called me a name. If you said, if you want me evicted, then he had to have said something about getting you out.
He didn't really see, I don't remember him mentioning anything about me getting out. I just remember the fact that he called the police to get me out.
No, before he called the police. You're still in the kitchen. Do you ever leave the kitchen?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go?
I went to my room.
Okay. Before you went to your room, did you hear him on the phone with the police?
I did.
Before you went to your room?
Yes.
Okay. And
I didn't sit there and listen to his phone call. I took a video and I started recording because I didn't want to be made out to look like the guilty party. And I had it pretty much live streaming the whole time, which was an Instagram video.
Can I see it?
No, I don't have the video. The police
then it
deleted
doesn't exist. If you don't have it, it doesn't exist for my purpose.
Understood.
But you had it then?
Yeah, I did have it then.
You did. And the police came?
Yes.
And I assume if the police came, you showed them the video?
Yeah, I was showing it to them.
And despite showing them the video, they took you into custody?
Despite showing them the video, they took me into custody.
Despite looking at the video?
Yes.
Which I haven't seen.
They didn't look at the video. They refused to look at it.
Well, let's go one step further. You see, Mr. Davis, this is why you bring actions right away. So that not only everybody's memory is fresh, but if I wanted to call a police officer who responded or whatever, that's why you bring an action right away.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So now you're taken into custody and you have a video that is totally, according to you, exculpatory.
I don't know the definition.
Exculpatory means it says that you were not guilty of anything.
Okay.
And you appear in court?
No, I didn't appear in court.
Never?
No, never.
Well, what happened to the case?
The case was thrown out. It was a DA reject because there was insufficient evidence that I did anything to him.
And you never showed the district attorney your video?
I didn't get a chance to because the video was deleted by the police.
The police department deleted your video?
Yeah, they did.
You are a terrible victim of circumstance, Mr. Davis. Did you ever make a complaint that the police department deleted your video that would be exculpatory?
No.
Why not? I would if I had.
Maybe ignorance of the law, I guess.
What?
I said maybe ignorance of the law, I guess. Not knowing. When you know better, you do better.
No, Mr. Davis. Actually, I mean, sometimes you really don't know what the law is, but you were smart enough, you said, to tell me, because you knew I would say, why wait 2 years, that you didn't want this action to conflict with another action. Well, that's a two-process thinker.
I've had something like that happen to me before where I had a criminal case and a civil case pending, and the dates were kind of intertwining and messing, and they're about to get in the way of my civil case. So I didn't want to make that same mistake with this case, Your Honor.
Okay, so you want to tell me what your version of the events were of November 9th of 2020?
Yes, Your Honor. I had gone to Mexico for a business trip meeting, and I had my friend who was visiting from Mexico staying at my place, and at that same time, I had another roommate who was renting the room next to Ryan Davis's room. His name was Dave. I received a call from Dave on November 9th that is constant sex going on.
Okay, so you received a call from the other person living in your house who you were renting a room to.
Right.
Okay, and then, don't tell me what he said. Can't tell me, that's all hearsay.
Well, I've heard prior to all the sexual acts taking place.
Listen to me. You personally.
Yes.
When you were home.
Yes.
Okay, so you heard what was going on behind his closed doors.
Right, day and night.
Okay.
Like there's no tomorrow.
Okay, well, maybe, maybe jealous. Okay.
Disrespectful.
Shh. Okay, so he was becoming an annoying tenant.
Yes.
For whatever reason.
Yes.
Keep going. You sent him a text. He called you. You had heated words. He comes home from work. You're in the kitchen.
Yes.
He comes into the kitchen and
I told him, Ryan, we've gone through this many times before. I've addressed this to you about your girlfriend coming here all the time, day and night, and now she's here every day. What he was doing was sneaking her in late at night, and that's how I will know that she snuck back in. There were times I came home from work, and she was already there when Ryan wasn't even there, so she had the key, obviously.
Okay, now let's go to November 9th.
November 9th, I confronted him. I said that this is just way too much. My other roommate wants to leave. He cannot take it anymore.
And
then he said, well, she isn't here. And my...
Okay, he said she wasn't here. Keep going.
Then he cussed at my friend who was visiting from Mexico. He said, get this bitch out of here.
That's not true.
Don't interrupt.
And,
okay.
I said, you can't talk to her.
Okay, let's go.
Right. Then he went into his room. He came back. He brought a samurai sword with him. And he flashed at me. I'm going to slice you in half like a butter.
Okay.
What? And I'm like shocked at that time, don't know what's going on with him because he's just changing character. I'm scared of my life. I'm scared of my guests.
Okay. And then what happened? So
And
he
then
came out
I said, you need to get out of here. You need to move.
And then he went back. He didn't do anything with the sword.
No, he didn't. He went back in the room with the sword. He put it there. But then he came back and he pushed me against the wall. As he was pushing me, I tried to block him by putting my two hands up. And when he pushed me, a bruise, I had a cut on my wrist, but there was a bruise.
Okay.
And
now,
I
at what
said, I'm
point?
going to call the police.
Okay, so you called the police when he came back out of his room the second time, this time without the sword. And the police took a report.
Yes.
Do you have that report?
Yes.
I'd
right
like
here
to
you-
see it. Mr. Davis, do you have a copy of the police report or
I
any
have it right
follow-up
here, too,
report?
Your
I'd like to see that too. Mr. Davis, where did you get the sword from?
My girlfriend at the time,
Which girlfriend?
Twana.
When did she get it for you?
She got it during my birthday, for a birthday gift.
When's your birthday?
October 31st.
And this happened on November 9th.
Correct.
Between October 31st and November 9th, did you have occasion to show Mrs. Zaidi prior to November 9th? So
Never,
between
Your Honor.
31st and the 8th, did you show Mr. Zaidi the sword?
Never, Your Honor. He's
Just
a liar.
just a sec. Just answer my question.
Davis has accused his former landlord, Alex Zaidi, of causing a false arrest. Alex says Ryan threatened him with a samurai sword.
Okay. October 31st to November 8th, did you ever show Mr. Zaidi the sword?
No, Your Honor.
No.
No.
Okay. So unless he went into your room,
He went into my room.
unless he went into your room prior to November 9th, there was no way he would have seen the sword.
Correct.
Okay. And when did you go away on this business trip, sir?
On the 9th.
That day?
Yes, in the morning.
And on what day did you first see this sword that was in his room?
On the evening of November 9th.
That was the first time, not his
First,
birthday, not second day, not third day. Okay. Does his room have a lock on it, by the way?
From inside.
From inside. Mr. Davis, were you on probation at the time of this incident for something in Riverside
Yes,
that
Your
involved a fraud?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And that wasn't a fraud dating back to 2004?
It was dating back
No, it wasn't an incident.
for 2000 and, I believe, 15.
Okay. So when you told me before, and I'm not even going to have Whitney read it back, you said the last time you had this speeding little problem and evading police, I said, well, before that? And you said, yeah, I did before that in 2004.
Correct.
But that was a lie.
Which was like...
Just a second, that was a lie. You had another case involving a fraud in 2015
It wasn't.
on which you were on probation, which means that you were either found guilty or took a plea.
Correct.
Okay. And when the police officer, Mr. Davis, took down your statement, you said that while you acknowledged that you had a samurai sword in your room, you said you had never shown it to Mr. Zaidi.
Correct, Your Honor.
You had never showed it at any time. Well, then how would
Never
he
at any
know
time.
that you had a samurai sword, sir, in your room when he called the police?
Because he was going in my room, I believe, when I was not there, going through my stuff.
Okay.
That's the only other way I can know that he was...
I'm not finished reading this, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
That's like the 2015 case. You just remember. Do you have any other police reports that you'd like me to see, Mr. Davis?
Not a police report, but I have the bail bonds receipt that I paid. And
I'm not
also-
interested in your bail bonds receipt.
I have the DA reject.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, they rejected the case right here.
Yeah,
They refused
I'd like
to
to
file
see it.
charges. Your Honor, there's a conflicting story where he said he was left on the 9th because he was there 2 weeks with his guest prior to that. So how could he leave on the 9th if his guest was there 2 weeks prior to
I
the
asked
9th?
him when he left for his... Sir, you didn't understand the reason for my question. I wanted to know if he had been gone from October 31st, which was your birthday, to the 8th. That's why I asked him when he left on his business trip.
Correct.
And he said he didn't leave until the date of this incident. You want to say he left before?
He did
That would
leave
be
before.
interesting.
He
What?
did leave before.
He did.
Yes.
On what date did he leave?
I don't know the exact date, but I
A
know
week before, 5 days before?
it was maybe about a few weeks before.
November 9th?
Yeah, a few weeks.
Then he wouldn't have been able to see your sword because he wouldn't have been coming in and out of
He
your
was
room.
there from the 9th.
Well,
from
this
the
happened on the
31st
9th.
From the 31st
That-
to the 9th, he was there.
Well, you just told me he left 2 weeks before.
I'm saying he was gone before that date, and then On the 31st, between the 31st and the 9th, he was there at the place.
Okay, well, that's what he says. He said he was there, and the business was only one day. He left on the 9th, and he came home on the 9th. You said, no, he was there for 2 weeks before. Well, if he was there for 2 weeks before and you didn't get the sword until 31st of October, he could not have seen it by going in and out of your room. So you have to sort of get your story straight, sir. So he was there or not there, according to you?
He was there.
He was there?
Correct.
Okay, good.
His guest was also there for about 2 weeks.
Just who cares about his guest? He owns the house.
Okay.
Okay, it was a misdemeanor case and they declined to prosecute it.
Correct.
Your case is dismissed, Mr. Davis, for several reasons. It's dismissed because it was brought in an untimely fashion. It was brought 2 years after the fact for no valid reason.
Your Honor,
it's dismissed for that. It's dismissed for a second reason, because I find some of your testimony, sir, incredible. And one of the reasons I say that is because you were not forthcoming with a legitimate answer to me with regard to your prior history, which isn't always dispositive, but if you had something pending for evading the police, and you had something pending for evading the police while you were on probation for a crime for which you were convicted, either after trial or after hearing, do you understand? You would remember that. Are you still on probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, your case is dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned. You're making a mistake, Your Honor. You have guests over 2 to 3 weeks at a time, but I have a girl over for 3 days, and now it's World War III.
He was only allowed to stay there by himself, not with his girlfriend.
I never went at him with a samurai sword.
It was pretty scary.
He basically just used the system against me because I'm a person of color and I have a record already, so I fit the bill.
He had a criminal record. When I rented the room to him, he was asking for a second chance.
It's easier for them to lock somebody up who's already been to jail.
Nobody was renting him the room, and he was saying he's trying to start a new life.
I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. I wouldn't even need a weapon if I was going to assault him, but I never did.
Thank you, Judge Judy.
You know, there are so many lessons from this case, I think, Sarah. One of them is there's a reason that the law tells you to bring an action in a timely fashion, right?
Many reasons.
Many reasons. One is because it's not like an afterthought, you know, and there are reasons for delays. You were in a hospital, you go into the armed forces, but here there was no really legitimate reason for him not bringing this kind of case in a timely fashion. And the other one that's always a good thing to me, what did you think about his credibility?
Yeah, I think it's hard for a fact finder to believe the totality of your testimony if one of the first questions, just about a simple question of your prior history with law enforcement, if you have any pending charges, I think that's a very simple question. If you aren't fully truthful with the fact finder on that question, it makes it really difficult, and the rest of your testimony is now suspect.
That's true. And it's a good lesson, because sometimes you think, well, it's sort of an innocuous question. I don't have to get it. But if I, sitting as a juror in a case, see that somebody is fabricating a fact, and they want you to believe them, you know, they're saying it is that I want you to believe my last law enforcement issue was in 2004.
Oh, yeah. A long time ago, no run-ins.
Right, nothing else, and a speeding.
Yeah.
Ticket. And
it sets the tone in a negative way, and it makes it difficult for the fact finder to find in your favor.
I'm glad. So you agreed with that.